Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station, live from the Comcast Business Studios. 97.5, The Fanatic. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas. This is Kincade and Salciunas. 97.5, The Fanatic, and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Preseason game number 2 in the books. Looks like we found out who some of the winners were for position battles. And, of course, there were some guys that showed up, guys that didn't. And then the Phillies, speaking of showing up, they woke back up, and maybe the season has turned around. I said this to Connor earlier, part 7. It's a Fanatic Friday. Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
I believe it would be a failure for the Philadelphia Eagles, the 2024 Philadelphia Eagles, if they do not win the NFC East. The Eagles have had a quiet training camp.
And to me, I look at it and say, it's wonderful to have peace and serenity out in South Philly.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Friday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salciunas alongside my man John Kincade. Johnny, good Fanatic Friday.
It is a great Fanatic Friday, I would say.
Yep.
It is going to be a great day today.
Damn right. The Phillies won yesterday.
They did.
It's getaway day for myself.
It is. It's getaway day.
So I'm excited.
Yeah, you're going to have a nice little break, which is great, before we all amp up for the regular season.
Yeah, I'm taking my time off during the preseason, just like the Eagles starters on offense did yesterday. You know, if they don't have to play, why do I have to come to work?
And I think it is the boss told you, look, you got a couple vacation days, you want to burn them.
Yeah.
I'll burn mine the week after.
Some say that I've worked harder than some of the Eagles players have worked, you know.
Well, you've definitely worked more days.
Yeah, that's true.
Than that is. But look, today's a day today's a feel-good Friday.
Oh, yeah, dude. Today's a day, like, I don't want to be in a bad mood for the next 3 hours and 58 minutes.
Here's what I don't get. Why should anybody be?
You know, there's always people that will find a way to be in a bad mood. There will be something that we will react to that will make us maybe a little bit outraged, but it's because of somebody's opinion on the Philadelphia Eagles that we will get to.
Yes.
And I told you before the show, I just saw something right before the show started. I'm not even going to tell you what it is.
Okay, don't show me.
So we'll get to that coming up later on the show.
I love the surprise element of the show.
Yeah, I like it, man. And we may have a big surprise at 9 o'clock.
Yes, I expect a huge guest should join us in the 9 o'clock hour, as long as huge guest gets up out of bed.
Right, and
which I never bet on.
Huge guest could be used for 2 different reasons. Huge guest, like, wow, that's a great get. And also, he's huge. So that's
he's a big advocate of the Kincade and Salciunas morning show.
I appreciate that. I'm going to ask him if he's okay with making 7-year-olds cry.
Which is great.
Which I'll explain later. Anyways, so Eagles preseason week number 2 happened yesterday, and the Phillies won. We're going to talk about them both in this segment, but let's start with the Eagles. Congratulations, they're 2-0. They are winning the preseason right now. It's like the Sixers in Summer League. The Sixers in the Summer League are just lethal. They are always so good. The Eagles this year, undefeated in the preseason. The big story, of course, the starters offensively did not play. Most of the starters defensively did play, or sorry, I should say the people competing for starting jobs defensively.
Right,
because
exactly.
Zach Bond, even though he's talked about as if he is a starter, still hasn't necessarily won the job just yet. He did look good yesterday. Nakobe Dean, that was the guy that Connor, during our pregame show yesterday, said that he wanted to watch him. He looked good yesterday. There were some guys that stood up defensively yesterday. Vontae Maddox, who might be on his way out. He did have a nice play in the red zone, though.
Yeah, apologies to Avante, and he goes and gets a big interception.
Yeah.
As big as an interception can be in a preseason game, but it was a big play at a big time. Look, Avante Maddox, it's no issue as far as whether he can play.
Oh, he's talented. It's
whether you want to use a roster spot on a guy who usually plays 3 games and then is hurt, 4 games and then is hurt.
Right, and that's the thing that sucks.
And that's bad of me to. I'm not casting aspersions like he's a ne'er-do-well or that he's some lazy bum.
No, he's always hurt. It's a shame. There's some guys that just always have. I mean, look, Joel Embiid, right? Like, there's guys that are just always hurt. It's a shame. And Avante Maddox is very talented. But if you're Vic Fangio, you go, all right, I got this first-round draft pick in Quinyon Mitchell, who is extremely talented.
Oh, he is.
And may not have an injury history, knock on wood. So why should I start a season, prepare for a season with a guy, to your point, John, that I might lose 3 weeks in, whereas I can prepare for a season in hopes that this guy, this kid, Quinyon Mitchell, can be my slot corner all season long until he eventually, takes over for Isaiah Rodgers or Keely Ringo, depending on who that second outside corner is.
It is wonderful that they have options. And it's one of the things that I think about. Look, neither one of us cares if they win preseason game.
No.
That doesn't mean anything to us. Neither one of us is going to put too much stock into whether a guy's making plays against other teams' backups. But there has not been anything that makes me go, wow, this is alarming. This is dreadful. This is going to be a problem. There might be an individual. Is there something about the team?
There's one for me.
Okay, what is it?
And it's been the constant. It's the pass rush.
Okay.
Great for Nolan Smith to get a sack yesterday with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. So who was playing?
Sure.
Like Connor was the left tackle, I'm pretty sure. Like
I could have blocked better.
It was great. I'm glad that he got a sack. It was against probably the third and fourth string players of the New England Patriots. Bryce Huff, I'm glad that Vic Fangio is making him play. It's still kind of alarming that Bryce Huff has to play, right? That was your big off-season acquisition. We are so terrified to play players on offense because they're high-priced players and they're very talented players. Your biggest acquisition in terms of finances, I think, right?
He was the biggest.
Right, in terms of finances, in terms of cap hit,
this
right?
This offseason, yeah.
Is still playing in the preseason despite the weather and everything. Kind of alarming. So, and the pass rush still kind of concerns me, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. But to your point, the secondary and the depth, I feel good about it. And we've said how that could be a marriage. The pass rush of the 2017 Eagles was so good that you were able to mask the deficiencies of Ronald Darby and Jalen Mills as your outside corners. Maybe Darius Slay and whoever wins cornerback 2, and then with Quinyon Mitchell in the slot, and then another year of Reed Blankenship, even though you guys know how I feel about him, but with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson back, maybe the secondary can be that great marriage that kind of helps the deficiencies of the pass rush.
Well, that's one of the things is that, again, and for a lot of Eagles fans of the current generation, especially you younger fans out there, it has been, wow, get after the quarterback, sack the quarterback. We love a physical defense. Mm-hmm. Fact is, in 2 different iterations of the Andy Reid era, the secondary set up the pass rush. And I really believe when you've got a pass rush in transition and you've got guys that you're hoping, let's put it this way, roll into learning the job and grow into the position. Mm-hmm. You want a versatile secondary that can do a lot of different things. I think Vic Fangio is looking at his board on the defensive secondary and saying, okay, I got chess pieces. Yeah. And I can move them around.
But now my only concern to that is, all right, Darius Slay, I feel comfortable with. You guys know I love Darius Slay. I think he's severely underrated in the city.
He's been a fantastic since he's been here.
Right. But I'm relying on Isaiah Rodgers, who did not play football last year.
Okay.
Keely Ringo, if he wins the job, to take a leap. A rookie in the slot. Reed Blankenship, who I'm not really the biggest fan of as a starter. I like him as a rotational piece. And if you want to talk about Avonte Maddox and his injuries, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I need him to stay healthy. That's my one concern.
Well, you're not worried about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Lacerated kidney.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Torn pec.
Okay. Joel Embiid, fractured orbital bone twice. Maybe he's one of these guys where he just has a dark cloud over him. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't believe in dark clouds.
Okay.
I don't. Even after watching Embiid's career, I don't.
Yeah, okay,
but it's that idea. And if I said to you this about Isaiah Rodgers, if I told you that a guy who was one of the top 2 or 3 corners for a franchise misses a year due to an injury and is coming back in the prime of his career,
you're still feeling good.
You would feel good. This guy wasn't even injured.
Right. That's true.
So to me, I think the Isaiah Rodgers thing, is him not playing football for a year and some. I don't think it's as big an issue as maybe you and I think it is.
Okay. So defense, look, we'll see how this season plays out. We all think they're going to be better. We've been talking about, can they climb up from 30 to 15? You said as high as 12.
I say if they are, I think 12 would be the ceiling.
And that look, with what you have offensively, that should be good enough, should be more than good enough to get you in a deep playoff run. So don't think if you're listening right now that I'm terrified that the defense is going to give up 40 points a game. there are just still some concerns that I have going into the season about the pass rush, and I've been on that since OTAs.
You have, yeah.
Right, the second Hassan Reddick gets traded, I'm looking around going, man, this is a very bare closet that I have when it comes to this pass rush, and I'm expecting Nolan Smith to take a big leap, and I'm glad that he got a sack yesterday. I'm happy for his confidence in the third quarter against way down the depth chart tackles. But we'll see how it plays out during the regular season.
I don't think anything you said's unfair.
No, I don't think
one
so
thing
either.
I like, though, and I think, by the way, Ross Tucker does a great job.
He's amazing.
Ross Tucker does a great job, and I would imagine someday that they will, he's got great. He already is getting more and more of a role.
He started to do
with
games
CBS.
on TV.
He's
yeah.
excellent. He's excellent. And listening to Ross, though, who's there, and he gets to see him in practice, gets to see him in these games. Ross likes a lot of the technical things that he sees out of Nolan Smith.
Okay.
I need to see more finishing.
Yeah.
But
I pointed out to you
that he
didn't complete tackles last year.
Right. No, he didn't. He would
hit a brick wall.
He does not look like he is. He does not look in any way, shape, or form, though, that he is like lost or that this is going to be a problem. I think they're going to be able to throw him in there, but you got to finish.
Right.
That's bottom line. You got to, you can't Mike Mamula it, and that's an old reference for you, where we used to count the quarterback hurries, and the Eagles used to spin them as sacks. These are almost as good as sacks.
Right.
Quarterback hurries, they would use that stat for Mike Mamula. And no offense to Mike, who I know listens to the station sometimes.
Yeah. See him at a couple golf outings.
It is. It's an unfair thing, but you got to finish.
Right, you got to finish. Now, we talked a lot about the defense because they're the only ones that played yesterday. The offense did not play last night. Connor pointed out, actually our texter first pointed out the weather report, then Connor brought it up on the air.
And it wasn't. There was nothing last night.
So, look.
There was nothing last night.
I'm with you.
It's absurd.
The one thing offensively that we learned yesterday, Mekhi Becton is your starting right guard.
Yeah, and by the way, when they carted off Tyler Steen, they're carting off Tyler Steen so he doesn't have to walk on an ankle that's already a little wonky.
Right.
They're not carting him off thinking, oh, his career's over.
No.
Or his season's over.
No, they
did not want him to walk.
Just like how they let Carson Wentz walk off the field with a torn ACL, which is one of the dumbest things ever.
Now, I've been told about that I was told that it didn't matter.
I don't care.
But still, I don't care.
Give the guy a ride.
Exactly. Give him a ride.
He's dragging his leg in L.A. Give him a ride.
Can't you see, though, a guy like Carson Wentz, though, wanted to show how tough he is?
Yeah, whatever, dude.
And that might have been it.
I'd say, tough guy.
I'd say, hey, tough guy,
get on the cart. But it had nothing to do with the Tyler Steen injury. Mekhi Becton did not dress yesterday when the weather report basically deemed it unplayable for the starters.
Ridiculous.
You found out that Mekhi Becton not dressing was pretty much the telltale sign. Nick Sirianni talked about it yesterday, and we'll play those clips for you later on the show. That has nothing to do with anything. Bull. Like if you were being so careful with all of your starters and you decide that Mekhi Becton fit that mold of we don't want to play this guy in the rain, you told us that he's your starting right guard. So congratulations to Mekhi Becton. It seems like he's going to be the starting right guard.
Got an issue with it?
No.
I do not
at all.
You know
how I feel about it?
Except it also tells me something about Howie Roseman. Because it would be real easy for Howie Roseman to try to throw his weight around and say, come on, dudes. Like, give at least to start the season. Let Steen be the guy. Please, come on, man. We invested in this guy and everything. This tells me a lot, too, that Howie's not meddling in who's playing when.
Or Howie says, hey,
Becton's the better guy.
I found this draft. I found this draft bust.
He gets a lot more credit for. You get a lot less credit, I should say.
Right, because Steen, a third-round draft pick,
right.
that's a high draft pick. I get it. But here's Nick Sirianni last night explaining why the offense did not play.
We had 89 plays against New England. It was a long practice. It was a physical practice. We had some good one-on-one reps. And when you play 2 days beforehand, like when you practice on Friday, let's take us to a season. You practice on Friday, then you play on Sunday, right? That Friday practice is, short, fast, focused Friday. Some people call it Fast Friday. and that's by design to make sure that your guys are ready to go on Sunday. Well, it's the same, when you have that long of a practice, which is more like a Wednesday, really even a longer Wednesday practice, and a really physical practice like it was. I just thought it was a really physical practice because I think New England's a really physical team. That's not enough rest, in my opinion, to put those guys back out there. And they got enough work in that area. We'll do some things next week to simulate that again, even though we're not practicing against anybody, and we'll see how that goes with whether we play them or not next week. But that's what went more into the decision to not play them.
Oh, my gosh.
So here's the deal.
The Constitution, he could have read it faster.
I know.
My God, Nick.
So here's the deal.
My gosh.
Like Connor said the other day, he has a reasoning, whether we agree with it or not.
He doesn't have a reasoning because he ignores it on the other side of the ball.
I was just about to say.
So he does not have reasoning.
Maybe it wasn't physical for the defensive players.
Oh my gosh, it's so like, Nick, first of all, for God's sake, sum it up. Get to it. And more importantly, why it took him that long to answer that question is because he doesn't have a strategy. It's because this, though, and I think it's a good thing. It is obvious that the defensive coordinator wants people to play, and it's now been said, and it was said again on the broadcast last night. I forget how it was talked about on the broadcast. It was he petitioned Nick or told Nick what he needed to see and how he needed to see it. That tells me the defensive coordinator said, I need to see things. And the offensive coordinator said,
I'm good.
Sit him on the bench. And to me, credit Nick Sirianni for listening to one coordinator and listening to the other.
Okay.
And that's how I'm going to look at it. I'm going to look at it as a
great.
positive.
That's great. I just love how he talks about last week it was, the weather, not safe for the starters to play offensively.
Oh, my gosh.
But safe enough for the defensive players. And then, man, we had some physical practices against New England. I can't let those guys on offense play again. But the defense, screw it. Let's run them to the ground.
Did you see the physical practice? They showed a lot of video against New England.
Dude, it's an excuse to not play the starters. And if they don't feel like they need to play, all right, that's up to them. They're the coaches. They're the ones that are evaluating the film, evaluating the classroom when they're going through everything. They're the ones that make that decision. I'm just going to say it one more time. And look, it's the last time I'll say it until maybe Friday of the first game.
3 weeks. 3 weeks, baby.
Yeah, I don't want to say it again because I know they're not playing preseason week number 3.
But 3 weeks from tonight, we're going to see it.
You better not start off slow offensively in the first half of that Packers game.
Yes.
And then I don't want to hear if you do, they didn't play in the preseason. And I don't want Eagles fans who are on board with that strategy to say it. And I don't want Nick Sirianni to say after the game, like he did last year, maybe I should reevaluate what I did in the preseason. Oh, by the way, he was asked about his comments from last year yesterday. Maybe one of the reporters was listening to the show when we were talking about it. Here's Nick Sirianni's response to the question about his comments he made following the Week 1 win against the New England Patriots. That was ugly, and he said he was going to reevaluate everything, and then he said, if I had to do it again, I'll play my guys in the preseason. That's not happening this year.
Really, what I probably should have said if I didn't say this is I would always reconsider. We'll see what happens next week as far as our plan to play anybody, but I always will consider everything's always on the table, and each year is a different year. All right, for me to answer anything for next year or probably last year, even answering for this year, wasn't smart on my behalf. So every year is a new set of challenges. Every year is new circumstances. Every year, everything's always on the table of what you want to do. And the main goal is to get your guys ready to go week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. I'd say we've started these last 2 years pretty hot off the starting 8-0, I believe 8-0 and 22 and 5-0 last year before we lost. So, the main goal is to make sure we're winning that first game and we're ready for that first game and to continue to build off that first game. You want to look as pretty as you possibly can, as far as clean as you possibly can that first game, because clean football is what helps you win that first game. But the main goal at the end of the day is to score more points than the other team.
Tells me that last year he had coordinators that he told what to do. This year he has coordinators that have a little more clout. And I believe both coordinators have gotten their way. And I think that's good for Nick. It's good. It's to me, I'm going to look at this as a positive for Nick Sirianni.
Okay.
I'm not going to rip them for it, but I damn well agree with you.
I just better not hear it.
That Friday night in Brazil, I need to hear nothing.
And I better
about,
not.
It's a little. Remember, this is game number 1. Slow start, especially if Jordan Love and the Packers offense is humming.
And I will just say this, because Nick Sirianni's not wrong. As Bill Colarulo has pointed out, not wrong. The Eagles are undefeated in the month of September the last 2 seasons, right? That is factually correct.
Did they play well, though?
Well, I was going to say this.
I mean, seriously.
The year they go to the Super Bowl, they played the Detroit Lions in Week 1. They eked out a win, and this was not the Lions of last year.
They eked it out.
This was not the Lions of last year.
No.
This was the Lions of 2 seasons ago that fell below 500. Then they played the Vikings, who we found out was a fraudulent football team. And then they played the Commanders. That was the first 3 weeks. Bad football teams. Last year, Patriots, Vikings, Bucks, bad at the time. Obviously, their season turned around, and they got to the playoffs and beat. This year, it is a potential Final Four team to start the season in Green Bay. So, yes, Nick, you're right. You guys have had success to start seasons. But you've played some bad teams to start. All right? I'm not asking for style points. I'm asking for wins. But if you're not humming, a team like the Green Bay Packers could make you regret everything. All right, we'll continue the conversation coming up next. You can climb in 610-632-0975. Your reaction to yesterday's preseason game. We got to get into the Phillies, a big win. How about Weston Wilson hitting for the cycle? And John said something before the show today that I have no idea what he means. But he just told me he feels better about the Eagles today than he did before camp. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phil's offense explodes. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update's brought to you by Compassion International.
9 on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic on this Fanatic Friday. Getaway day for yours truly. You'll be in good hands with John and Connor on Monday and Tuesday.
We absolutely will. And we hope that you have a great 4-day weekend.
Yeah,
because that is what you're supposed to do this time of year.
Yes,
Get ready because
I'll try my best.
We will be going nuts.
You know me. I don't like taking time off. So
I know you don't. And
I'll be thinking about work more.
What did Mrs. Kincade say about that? She's going to smack you.
She'd smack me. Yeah. So
You need to take time off. You need to be.
Yeah.
You need to do those kind of things in life.
Yeah, my relaxing time off with a 2-year-old at home. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the Phillies before we get back to our Eagles conversation, because you said something before the show. I have no idea where you're going with it. You just said that you feel better about the Eagles today than you did before training camp started.
Yep.
And I would like for you to explain why. But real quick, let's give a little love to the Phillies, who had another beat down.
How about a lot of love?
9-5 the other night against the Marlins. Last night, 13-3 against the Nationals. 17 hits for your Philadelphia Phillies. Kyle Schwarber 1 for 5. Trey Turner 3 for 5. Bryce Harper 2 for 4. Alec Boehm 1 for 4. Nick Castellanos 2 for 5. JT Realmuto 1 for 4. Bryson Stott 1 for 4. I'll skip one player. Johan Rojas 2 for 5. Every player in the starting lineup with at least a hit last night, including Weston Wilson, who goes 4 for 5 with a single, a double, a triple, and a home run. A cycle for Weston Wilson, which is an awesome story. He's 29 years old.
It's a great story.
He really only came up to the bit. What was last year? This major league debut. I was at the game. It was the home run. That was the Lorenzen no hitter, and Weston Wilson hit the home run.
They kept the focus on his wife in the stands in the beautiful red dress.
Last night was a red dress game for Weston Wilson.
It was a beautiful red dress.
But what a night for him. I mean, that's why I love sports so much, because it's the unknown of any given night. This is why when people say, "Oh, wake me up come playoff time," you miss nights like last night, where a guy like Weston Wilson, who knows, does he have some sort of part on this team, legitimate part, or is he back in the minors? Does he make a playoff roster? I don't know. But on a August 15th night, on a Thursday night in the summer, where there's a packed crowd for a Nationals-Phillies game, you're going to the ball game going, let me have some fun with my friends or my family, just watching the team I love.
And enjoy it.
And then Weston Wilson has a cycle. It's the beauty of baseball. It's the beauty of sports. It's the Joel Embiid 70-point performance. I went to go see Victor Wembanyama play. I saw Joel Embiid put up a 70-point performance.
And you were going to see Wemby, right? I mean, because you see the Sixers all the time.
Right.
Biggest Sixers fan, but you're like, hey, I want to see Wemby.
It's going to a Flyers game and one of your players getting a hat trick, right? You're not going to the game expecting a hat trick. You're going to the game hoping your team wins. You're going to the game hoping that you see something special, but not expecting something like a hat trick or a 70-point performance. That's the beauty of sports, and I thought that was so cool for a guy like Weston Wilson to hit for the cycle.
Connor, it was an awesome moment, but I'll tell you, I saw an awesome moment last night about the Phillies that I wanted to call out. Weston Wilson, he got 3 hits. 3 of the hits, they showed the Phillies bench reacting to when he got the triple, when he hit the homer and everything. You know the happiest person for him? Brandon Marsh.
Dude.
And to me, I'm just going to say something. Now, I watched Brandon play high school football down in Atlanta. Watch him. I got to tell you, that is a special, special guy. I hope Brandon Marsh goes on a tear. I hope he gets himself where he can really contribute to this team. I looked at that last night and said, that is the definition of a teammate.
I'll give you another example.
He's a teammate.
Last year, when they beat the Marlins in the wild card round, they swept them in the 2 games. Remember, they were at Xfinity Live afterward partying because that's what
he's riding the bull.
Well, the bull was 2 years ago.
Yeah, because you don't need to be doing that ever. But during a playoff run.
I thought last year was a very cool moment. The Phillies sweep the Marlins. I don't think Marsh even played an inning because it was 2 left-handed starters.
Yes.
And him and Rob Thompson, there was a photo of them just hanging over the ledge, just drinking a beer together. And how many players would have been pissed off that they didn't get a chance to play in the playoff game? Oh, I'm one of your, quote-unquote big pieces, and I get benched for, not benched, but you decide to go a different direction in 2 playoff games. and he had the big smile on his face because he was happy for his team.
Right.
I totally get what you're talking about.
And to me, Connor, that's what vibes mean.
Yes, absolutely.
That's about more than about the locker room DJ. That's teammate vibes to me.
No, I think Stubbs is similar to that guy too. Like I don't want to take someone down to put Brandon
exactly.
Marsh up, but that's what this team is. And I brought it up during like the bad stretch that they were in because we talked about. I know Rob Thompson and how he handles the team. That's a different conversation than what we're having. But part of the conversation about differentiating where this team is compared to the 23 Eagles is we have not heard anything from the locker room about guys doing anything out of
Pointing
character.
fingers.
Exactly. This team is tight-knit. That's part of the upside of running it back. And that's part of the upside of keeping them together and the trade deadline trying to keep as many players with this team as possible. And to some people, it doesn't mean a lot, but you're absolutely right. And those are the moments that build momentum, and they can't be overstated what it means to celebrate. Like, we talked about it yesterday, about how much they were celebrating the 9-5 win over the Marlins.
Right.
Like, that's how you should treat getting out of this stretch, or hopefully getting out of this stretch. But what a moment last night.
Yeah, it was great. And so here, we'll ask the question again, part 7. Have the Phillies turned the season around? I heard Mike yesterday, Mike Missanelli, during the midday show talking about how he felt something when Schwarber hit the grand slam, or he could tell that the players felt a sigh of relief. And I think we all kind of got that. Like the weight of the world came off their shoulders. Now, granted, it was the Marlins, and last night it was the Nationals, which is why I said to both of you before the show, I am not making some statement of, they're out of it. The season's turning around. I don't need to be the first guy to say it. I will tell you when I feel that they have turned the season around. But I'm sure there are a lot of people that saw the Schwarber grand slam, saw the magic of Weston Wilson, of all people, hitting for the cycle yesterday, that may say that was the moment where they believe the season turned around.
I believe that when you and I reconvene after Labor Day, after I see 7 against the Braves, and Connor and I were talking about this morning, you got 7 against the Braves in the next 2 weeks. You have 3 at the Royals, who are playoff-type positioning team.
Absolutely, all those teams
and then
are.
3 at home against the Astros, who are the
they're the division leaders.
Always, and they're always in the mix to win a World Series.
Yep.
I'll know by Labor Day again. And I remember back in the day when we started the show, I told you by Labor Day, the NL East would be over.
Yeah, you did.
And then you would just be worried about playoff jockeying, and you'd be worrying about, I'll know a lot more when I see them play those teams.
Yep, absolutely. So do you believe that you saw something in these last 2 games where you believe the season is back on track for the Phillies? You can text in, you can call in 610-632-0975. Of course, we're also reacting to the preseason game yesterday, some of the things that you liked and didn't like. Of course, the starters not playing offensively, something I don't like. But for the last time, I'll say it, they better get off to a hot start against the Green Bay Packers. Now, John, before the show, you said that you feel better today than you did before camp. Explain yourself.
Yeah, I do. I feel better. And I know, again, I'm not somebody who ever puts into, did you win a preseason game or anything like that with the Eagles? But I know right now I feel better about so many of the marginal first team pieces and some of the depth pieces than I did before the preseason started. I feel better. Nakobe Dean looks like an NFL player. Whether he's a NFL starter, I think. I haven't seen Zach Bond. So I'll be the first one to
Looked
tell
good yesterday.
I can't make – no, but I mean, I haven't seen enough of a sample size to say – and I'm going to trust that Vic Fangio.
Right.
If he's looking at Zach Bond and he's looking every day at Nakobe
Who's been
Dean,
calling him a starter – basically since OTAs.
I'm going to trust that Vic Fangio is not going, you know what, I'm going to play the inferior guy over the young guy. No. I think because Vic Fangio is a guy who plays young players. I can now see that Nolan Smith looks like an NFL player. He's got to finish.
Yes.
Nakobe Dean looks like an NFL player. They have guys that are contributing. I am so excited about the secondary. Like, I was interested in the secondary. I'm excited about the secondary now.
I love that.
And to me, I love the idea. I honestly, in today's NFL, I think I may take a dynamic secondary over the dynamic pass rush.
Like you said, today's NFL, you're going up against
Today's NFL.
Every team has 2 stud wide receivers now.
Well, how much are you in nickel?
Right.
I mean, honestly.
Right, exactly.
I
No,
mean,
you're right.
it's that. So, and I always love the youth movement where
Yeah.
I'm seeing, okay, wait a minute. I could see this. I could see some of these guys play together for 3-4 years because I think that's the usual recipe to winning Super Bowls and everything. You go and get one or two pieces from the outside, but you built a core. I feel like I'm seeing the start of a core.
Now, this show has been consistently excited for the Eagles,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
Today is show number 110.
Yes.
All right. This show has been consistently excited for the Eagles. There are still some areas where we go, all right, I'm going to keep an eye on that.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
For
yeah.
me, it's the pass rush. I will keep an eye on that, and I hope that that doesn't hurt them. But I still believe that they are a 12-win team. You believe that the floor is 11, ceiling is 13.
Yeah, I'm in that little.
We've
that little
talked
range
about,
there.
you have already put it in stone that they will be playing in the NFC Championship game. And you know what, man? I'm close to being there with you.
You had plans, yeah. I mean, and so you and Bill and Connor, better January 26th.
We're doing the
I don't want to hear
pregame
it,
show.
Connor. I don't want to hear about any trips or anything.
Yeah.
Okay. If there's
January-
another
gotta be
wedding,
prepared.
I can't do anything.
January 26th, you tell your friends to stop getting married during football season. January 26th, you guys have plans.
So,
Pregame will start at noon on NFC Championship game, I figure.
yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, that's good.
Now, the reason why I said we have been consistently excited, we have also consistently gotten pushback by a lot of Eagles fans. Worried about the collapse last season. Could that bleed into this year?
And some of our own team here at the Fanatic.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'll ask this question. John, and I'll join you.
All right.
We're more excited, more confident in this Eagles team today since the start of training camp. But we've been consistently excited and confident about this team. For a lot of you, you're kind of waiting to see how it looks. Have you gotten more confident, more excited for the Eagles since the start of training camp over the last couple of weeks? How are you feeling? Let's talk about it. You can climb in, text message, or phone call, 610-632-0975. We start to check the text line next, and the calls, and it's a Fanatic Friday during the summer, which means questions out of the hat as well. It is Kincade and Salciunas on this beautiful Fanatic Friday, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Ricky Vitalico.
The thing that bothers me, how the hell does an offense
Kincade Salciunas on a Fanatic Friday. Beautiful day across the Delaware Valley.
We're going to have some fun this weekend.
Yep, we will. It's going to be a great weekend
You're going to have
ahead.
a great long weekend getting you ready for football.
I was just on the phone with my beautiful wife, Christy, and I said, hey, I'm stopping at the liquor store. What do you want? That's a great feeling. The pre-trip down the shore liquor store run is a great stop.
Especially if you're going to Ocean City.
Right, exactly. I mean, well, yeah. See, I'm going to Brigantine.
Where
but
it's a demand.
Yeah.
Now, do you pick up here or do you pick up down the shore?
So down the shore in previous life, but with Cooper and him being at daycare, I will make a pit stop at the liquor store that's down the street, and then I'll pick him up.
By the way, do it in Pennsylvania better.
You're a here guy. See, I'm a get up down the shore guy because I want to get something out of the fridge and then have it
I know.
on,
The
like,
only
not have to put it on ice right
the only
away.
problem is it's like $2 or $3 extra bucks.
It's more money.
Look at the chair you're sitting in, my guy. You could pay the extra bucks. Come on, buddy.
Okay.
This is Kincade Salciunas.
The chair I'm sitting in.
That's great.
Yeah.
Cash rolling in for you now.
Yeah, I hope this show continues until I'm 75.
Oh, man.
All right, so let's check the text line. You can text the show. You can call the show 610-632-0975. Getting some reaction to yesterday's preseason game number 2. The starters offensively did not play. You know how this show feels about that.
But none of us making it like it's a federal case.
No, I just better not hear
Right.
the excuse.
I don't want to hear
If you
that.
come to this show on September 9th,
The Monday we come back.
if the Eagles, God forbid, start the season 0-1, which I have predicted when we did our segment of W's and L's, I have game 1 as a loss.
Which I'm just so disappointed in you, but that's fine.
Now, I agree with you. I do feel better today than I did start of camp. But I would not be surprised if they lose that game. And if they do, on September 9th, Monday morning, be ready for me to point out if it's because of the offense's slow start. Hey, maybe I would point that out, and I better not hear from any of you. Well, relax. They didn't play in the preseason.
It's one game.
And I'll say, this is why I wanted them to play in the preseason, and it was the Green Bay Packers, who one game could be the difference in terms of conference standings.
If you guys are doing a broadcast on NFC Championship Sunday, and it's in Green Bay,
Right.
and you guys are having to do a pregame show, that sucks. Sucks.
Yeah.
And every Eagles fan should feel that way. This game is more important than just an opener.
Right.
It's a big game because if people are right, Green Bay is going to be one of the teams that stands between you and a Super Bowl.
Right. So I'm preparing you all. I don't want to hear it, and be prepared to hear it from me that Monday morning. And of course, Phillies, we're showing a lot of love to them. I'm not ready to say that they're back. I'm not ready to say the season's turned around because they beat the Marlins and the Nationals, but it was not, the warm and fuzzies were there yesterday.
What was the thing, though, that if I was to say to you last 2 nights, what would be the thing that absolutely you say, okay, if I was to believe that they're back, it's this. Because for me, they were barreling up the ball last night. There were so many line drive hits.
Yeah.
That, to me, is so promising. They look like they've got they look calm at the plate.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was much better yesterday than look, the first game, again, if Kyle Schwarber doesn't hit that grand slam, I don't know if they win that game.
I don't know. Even though they were playing small ball that night and they were doing some of the right things.
They did have 13 hits. I think the magic word you said, John, was they. Like when like that Dodgers series, Kyle Schwarber hit 3 home runs in a game. Like it was Schwarber won you the game. The past 2 nights, it's been everybody.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing.
And look, another nice night for Rojas, man. I'll give him the credit. 2 for 5, 3 ribbies.
I mean, I don't understand.
3 ribbies for Rojas.
Again, and I was just looking again last night because I was a little bored because the game was both games were a little boring.
13-3 and a preseason game.
At the stuff that Rob Thompson, Dave Dombrowski, and others said they wanted out of Johan Rojas this year.
243, man.
And Johan Rojas is doing exactly what they said they wanted him to do, but because other big money guys haven't been performing, they feel the pressure of going, we're not getting enough out of Rojas. It should never have been an issue to begin with. Rojas got screwed being sent down, didn't deserve it, and he is their best defensive player.
Some may say he's been better ever since he came back up.
That has nothing to do with it, but he's hitting, 4 points higher than when he got sent down, or 5?
It's a big 4 points.
That's a big 4 points,
Yeah, that's
man.
great, exactly.
And part of that came from 2 hits last night. All right, what do we got on the text line there, Connor?
All right, we have a check-in here from Dr. K. I don't know if this is a real doctor because I don't know if doctors listen to this program. But he says, I absolutely agree. The defensive coordinator wants his guys out there getting their feet wet in the preseason. The offensive coordinator has gone along with Nick. It's an interesting experiment, and we'll be able to see the results in the early season.
Absolutely. This is going to be, but as Andrew says, don't trot out any of this. Guys, it's one game. So the offense only put up 10 points through 3 quarters against Green Bay. I don't want to hear it. That Green Bay defense is ripe for the picking.
Yes, it is.
Well,
it is.
Let me ask you guys this. Do you think it's Kellen Moore going along with Nick Sirianni?
No, it could be.
I think they're of one. Look, we're seeing what Nick Sirianni says and what Vic Fangio says are 2 different things when they're behind a microphone.
Yeah.
About training camp. And to me, we're seeing that they are not of like mind. So that leads me to believe that Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni
Right.
are
Now,
of like
I will
mind.
say this. Now that Mekhi Becton is, I know it's not official.
No, he's penciled in, though, eh?
He's penciled in as your starting right guard if he didn't dress yesterday. That means there are no more position battles for starters on the offense. There's not many set in stone starters on defense. So I understand, if you want to say, hey, the preseason is just to find out who the starters are, all right, it makes sense that the defensive guys are still playing and the offensive guys are not. But if you look at it the way I do, that the preseason is a way to get ready for the regular season,
there it is.
Then I don't agree with the strategy of not playing guys offensively. All right, coming up next, we get more of your reaction. We'll get to the questions out of the hat. And also, we kind of talked about it. Nick Sirianni talking out of both sides of his mouth when it comes to the offense and defense. Hear why he said the defensive starters did play yesterday. And, of course, we'll replay why the offensive starters did not. It is Kincade and Salciunas on this Fanatic Friday right here, 97.5 The Fanatic. On this Fanatic Friday. All right, so coming up around 7:10, we'll replay what Nick Sirianni said about why the players on the offense did not play last night. However, as good journalists do, they then follow up and say, well, what about the defense? So He then spoke about why the defensive players started yesterday. He's talking out of both sides of his mouth. So we'll play that for you coming up around 7:10. And also, I'm going to say this now. Around 7:30, just be prepared to talk about a nonsense prediction.
Oh, no.
About the Philadelphia Eagles from CBS. Just be prepared for it. A nonsense prediction. But it's a chance for us to react to it. All right? A nonsense prediction about the Philadelphia Eagles coming up around 7:30.
Okay. I like that.
Yep. But we want to check out the text line. Of course, we got questions out of hat that we want to get to. But real quick, another week of being able to see the kickoff. I hate it. I'm gonna stand, but I'm gonna be firm about this all season long. I hate this new kickoff.
I think it stinks.
It's so dumb. And of course, the opening kickoff. Now they're trying out Braden Mann yesterday because they probably want to see who's gonna be better at this. Because it's not like, oh wow, Jake Elliott's such a great field goal kicker, so he's gonna be good at this. Like, we don't know if he's gonna be good at it. They have to learn how to place. It's not like a punter who's been working on a craft of trying to place it within a 20 by catching and punting. This is off a tee. And right away, the Patriots start on the 30-yard line yesterday. And I get it's a preseason game, but it's going to piss me off on opening night if the Eagles defer and the Packers decide they want the ball first, and then they're starting on the 30-yard line because Jake Elliott kicks it into the end zone. It's going to piss me off, man.
Yeah, remember what I said when this rule came out. You're going to see teams around the NFL trying punters to kick off to try and find that ability to pin teams.
And dude, you were right. It doesn't mean I like it more or less. I hate it.
No, I mean, but it's a fact. As Connor's saying, it's a fact. And if you could find something that can work to your advantage, that's awesome.
I think if you handle this right, like, here's the thing. Do we trust the Eagles special teams? I think they were really good last year. We had the issues in the Super Bowl year.
Clay was fantastic last year.
So I think that could be an advantage. There are going to be teams out there that do not have good special teams units that look like morons from this new kickoff.
Here's what I'm gonna hate. All right.
What's that?
So I think the return team, this is just me visualizing it and the very limited preseason football that I've been able to watch. And look, it's not like they're showing much because they don't want to show their strategies yet. I think the return team has the advantage. Do you guys agree or disagree?
Absolutely.
All right, return team has the advantage? All right. What's going to piss me off is at some point this season. Now, look, this could also benefit the Eagles at some point this season, and I'll celebrate it. But there's going to be a point at some point with the Eagles where they will score a late touchdown or a late field goal to give themselves a small lead. And they will kick it off, and a team's going to open up their drive either at the 30 because of a touchback or because I believe the return team will have an advantage. They're going to get to the 40 when they normally wouldn't, and that takes 2 plays. 2 plays gets you in field goal range.
You mean 2 first downs?
Yeah.
2 first downs.
But, like,
That's
you know the passing game. They're averaging, 12 yards per attempt at this point. That's 2 plays, and now you're in field goal range because kickers are now easily kicking 55 and beyond, right? And it's going to piss me off at some point if it costs the Eagles a game.
Yeah, but it's balanced. Like, the Eagles could do that, too. It could save an Eagles game. Like, as long as it's balanced, I think it makes the game more exciting. To me, that's something that's more interesting. Like, from the overall perspective of the sport, that's why I don't mind it, because it's another play that I think means something.
And you have, I think, agreed with me that at some point it's gone?
Yes.
All right. So you're basically doing an XFL experiment in a regular season.
They stole it from the XFL.
Yeah.
First of all, the fact that the NFL is borrowing stuff from the XFL, to me, is embarrassing.
Yeah.
That's absolutely embarrassing.
A league that will once again fail because nobody cares.
Because it's sophomore Mickey Mouse football.
Yeah.
It's not real. It's like some video game crap that like an 8th grader drew up. I don't understand it, and I don't understand the greatest business arguably in the world, one of them, the NFL, needing to borrow from people who can't run a business.
Right.
I don't know, man. Bad businesses can still have one good idea.
No, they could.
I think that shows that the NFL is willing to swallow their pride to assume, try and find ways to make the sport work.
I just think
who's
it's too much.
clamoring for this?
I don't think it's too much. It's too much of a gimmick, right? That's a great question.
Like, who's clamoring? Did NFL fans last year go, dude, we need to come up with some really new, crazy way to kick off the football?
That's a fair point.
Nobody.
But I
not
think
one time have we ever we've never. Guess what? If sports radio, if our industry has never even done a show on it,
right? Then that means
that pretty much means ridiculousness is not involved.
It's just too much of a gimmick to me, and it's going to be something that I'm not going to like all season long. And I forgot about it until I put on the game yesterday and watched the opening
and then
kickoff.
You're like,
and I'm like, oh my god, that's right. I freaking hate this thing. And I don't think my feelings on that will go away anytime soon. All right, what do we have on the text line, Connor? And then I want to pull a random question out of the hat before we get to this Nick Sirianni audio.
All right, we have a lot of people checking in on the preseason setup and what the Eagles did last night. We have a texter here, no name on this one, but they say, I agree with John. It's a positive thing, the Eagles and the way they're handling the starters. On offense, Nick is listening to what his coordinators want. He is also, unlike last year, willing to stray from his ideology, the one that was that he dispelled after the New England game, to do what's needed. That was his biggest problem last year.
And then, to me, that's where I look at it as a positive for Nick Sirianni. Mm-hmm. Because if it's true, and if I hear Jeff McClain say anything to me about, well, here's what I'm hearing, or I'm gonna take it that he probably knows.
Right.
And when he says that Vic Fangio got either petitioned or got Nick Sirianni to play the starters, that's awesome to me. Because it means that Nick Sirianni's listening this year, and he's not the smartest guy in the room,
which is great.
And that also, part of that relationship might have been told Nick, this has to change.
Right.
But then he's doing it, so I'm going to give the man credit. I'll give the man credit for it.
All right, then hold the question on the hat. Let's play this. So we'll first replay his reasoning why the starters did not play offensively. This was following the game last night, preseason week number 2.
We had 89 plays against New England. It was a long practice. It was a physical practice. We had some good one-on-one reps. And when you play 2 days beforehand, when you practice on Friday, let's take us to a season. You practice on Friday, then you play on Sunday, right? That Friday practice is, short, fast, focused Friday. Some people call it Fast Friday. And that's by design to make sure that your guys are ready to go on Sunday. Well, it's the same, when you have that long of a practice, which is more like a Wednesday, really even a longer Wednesday practice, and a really physical practice like it was. I just thought it was a really physical practice because I think New England's a really physical team. That's not enough rest, in my opinion, to put those guys back out there. And they got enough work in that area. We'll do some things next week to simulate that again, even though we're not practicing against anybody, and we'll see how that goes with whether we play them or not next week. But that's what went more into the decision to not play them.
All right. It was too physical to play the guys again offensively. Fair. If that's what you believe, fair. Why do you feel differently about the defense? Did they only play 9 snaps? 89 snaps for the offense. Did the defense and the New England offense decide, you know what? Let's go hang out. Let's play cards instead. Did only the Eagles offense and the Patriots defense work during joint practice? Here's Nick Sirianni's explanation as to why the defensive starters played last night.
As far as the defensive guys that played, Bryce, the linebackers, Devin and Zach, and we just felt like they needed reps with it. They needed an additional reps, and we weren't planning on playing them long. They didn't. I think they're all kind of right 10, 12, 14, somewhere in their plays. You guys would know that better than I would, but that was our plan to kind of get them that amount of reps, just because they're new to the team, new to the system. Zach Bond new to that position a little bit as well. So we really wanted to get them reps, and that's why those particular guys played.
Kellen Moore, new system, right?
Same exact thing. No, Kellen Moore's system, 95% different.
Yeah, who said that?
I would guarantee that is Jaylen Hurts. I would guarantee you that Vic Fangio's system is probably 20 to 25% different, maybe.
Right. Because we've had
what this franchise has been playing,
tree, right?
So I'm going to say that's ridiculous.
I get his reasoning. Look, there's new players on this team learning the system, but just because the Eagles have similar players on offense, they're learning a brand new system. And then he talks about the physicality and how many plays the offense played. And, we didn't want them out there. It's only been 2 days since the joint practice. However, he'll say, yeah, but you know what? The defense, we just wanted them to get some more reps. Well, you felt comfortable saying that the offense, we didn't want to give them more reps because of how much they worked. But you feel comfortable saying the defense needed more reps. He's kind of talking out of both sides of his mouth.
He's not kind of.
No, he is.
He is.
Yeah, this is following last week when the weather was too bad for the offense, but fine for the defense. Like that's my one thing. Like I'm kind of confused by it, man.
Well, it's not fair. The thing is, there should be no confusion. He's talking out of both sides of his mouth. He doesn't have an explanation, and that's why it takes him 20 minutes to say happy birthday.
Right.
I mean, it's Nick Sirianni.
He has half of an explanation.
No, but he doesn't follow it. It's not an explanation if he then contradicts it by his actions. If you say, Connor Thomas, I think on a Friday night, no single guy in Philadelphia should be drinking. And then later on tonight, I look at your Instagram feed and you're out partying with your friends and you're having a great time. Your things is absolutely contradiction, so it meant nothing. That's what Nick Sirianni's explanation meant. Nothing.
Yeah, well, here's what it is. And I think maybe Nick Sirianni's getting lost in his explanation.
Well, he does that sometimes.
Yeah, it doesn't defend the point. Like the whole offense versus defense last week with the weather makes no sense. The whole offense versus defense this week with the amount of contact in practice makes no sense.
Right.
But the overall principle, right? I try not to get too much lost in his words because sometimes I think he's very bad at articulating what he's trying to say. And I want to take more of the action than what he's saying to us. I understand the idea of having the defense out there more because the offensive chemistry should be really good. Even with the new system, the offensive chemistry between these players should be exceptional. The defense, you have a lot of new guys in new spots, and I think that's a valid reason for saying, hey, we need more reps with these guys out here.
And that's I'm not disagreeing with his reasoning for the defensive players starting last night. I just disagree that last week it was the weather's too not good for the offense, but good for the defense.
Yes.
This week, physical practice, offense can't play, but the defense is okay to play. However, he also says the defense, look, they're learning a new system. So is your offense. Your offense is learning a brand new system. And I apologize for my stomach grumbling. I don't know if that. I am freaking hungry.
By the way,
man.
I heard his. I started laughing that I heard his stomach rumble.
So freaking hungry.
You really
it's only
are.
7:14 this morning.
By the way,
Hungry dogs run faster.
Yes.
By the way, Tim, one of our fine listeners, he goes, imagine rolling into the Wawa. You're a little lost, and you ask Nick Sirianni for directions.
Oh my God, dude, you'd be. And you're half a mile away from where you're supposed to go.
Well, you know it, and you know that Nick Sirianni is a guy who knows no street names. Okay, turn left at the Wawa, turn right there at the Chipotle, head down to the Wendy's. Then he's giving directions that way.
Right.
Yeah, it's just that.
Well, I don't know street names. Odd.
Well, wait a minute. Why doesn't anyone use a map? Doesn't anyone use the map function? Yeah, no, it's right on your right.
I just kind of know. I know where I'm going.
I always use every single time that I'm going. I use whatever's through Apple CarPlay because I want to see if there's traffic.
Right.
And then I'll decide to go around.
But I don't read the streets. Dude, tell me where to go.
My development, I believe, has 3 different named roads. I only know the one I'm on, and I have to drive on 2 of them to get to mine. I just know where I'm going. Like, I've been walking around the neighborhood, and Christy goes, where are you? And I'll go,
in the neighborhood.
You know that house? Like, I don't know. I'm not a street name guy.
Well, you're also 70.
Yeah.
You are.
Well, no, if anything, I should know the street names then.
I guess so.
I would guess
people used to travel before Google Maps.
Street names aside, like the way that I've started, I think this might help a lot of people with their sanity. The way that I approach Nick Sirianni's coaching, or I guess the press conferences, is I look more at what he does and care less about what he says. Because ultimately, the action is what matters more.
Yeah, I got you.
And he gets really lost in his words sometimes. And I'm more like, as long as you do...
Shouldn't he knew that question was coming.
Sure. Dude,
he knew it.
And he can't figure it out.
Yeah, but guys, we can't do this 17 weeks. Like, he's going to say stuff every week in a post-game presser or during the week presser where we're like, what in the world is he saying? If the actions are justifiable and the team is getting the results we want, I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, okay, Nick,
and if
say
you're getting
whatever.
the results you don't want, Then what?
Then
like last week, for 8 weeks, I got the results I didn't want.
Obviously, Andrew, if the opposite things happen, then we have to have a different approach to that. But I'm just saying, like, if things are good, I'm not going to pick apart the speech by Nick Sirianni.
I would say this, is that, I can't say that. Someone that I know has a life coach, pays for a life coach.
Oh, God.
A highly successful person.
Can they just burn
pays
the
for a
money?
life coach. That's what I said.
Give it to me.
That's what I said.
If they're so successful,
and he
they
said,
wouldn't pay for a life
and one of the things that he's told is as the key is that you need to declutter your life. You need to simplify things. That every day you should find something that you can simplify in your life. Nick Sirianni complicates things for himself.
Buddy, I don't know if Nick Sirianni is a football coach. I'm not worried about his life coaching.
I do. No, but I mean, I know that he's a football. I know that he's a football.
Yeah, that was unfair.
I know what you're saying.
There's enough steps in actual coaching.
But I mean, to me, he makes things that aren't complicated.
Right, which is why I don't have the time to worry about breaking down the talk.
Right, as long as he's just coaching.
We're going to drive
the way
ourselves insane with that.
All right, you can text in, call in 610-632-0975. Give us one more text, and then we'll get a question out of the hat on this Fanatic Friday.
All right, we've got a text here on the Eagles and their preseason setup from last night. And the thought is here from Stan from Yardley. He says, I just worry that the starters on offense do not have any callousness built up. I don't want to walk through the first 3 quarters in Brazil trying to figure it out. I love how the defense is in there starting to take live hits. Preseason or not, game speed is different than training camp practice.
And he basically has said everything I've been saying for the last 3 weeks. That Jaylen Hurts, I'm glad that he is picking apart the defense in training camp. He's also picking apart the defense with the knowledge in the back of his head that he is not going to get hit. And the offensive linemen, if they miss a block, they go, oh, it's okay. They can't touch Jaylen Hurts. So it's not like they're going to. Sometimes holding calls are to protect the quarterback if need be. They don't have to do that in training camp.
Were they, and by the way, I want to ask the question too, and you know the answer. Were they hitting quarterbacks during the joint practices?
No. But
so I don't want to hear about all these hard
physical practices
because it's incorrect.
Right.
It's incorrect. It had nothing to do with football. I mean, it just is. It was scripted plays being between two coaches that were being worked on. Now, look, Nick Sirianni can learn things from that I can't.
Yeah, of course.
So
but it's like, I hated when I played baseball growing up. I hated the pitching machine.
Okay.
Like, oh, man, I've been struggling offensively. Let me go to the pitching machine. It's not an arm angle. It's not real pitching.
What about the curveball machine?
Yeah, exactly. That's why Gabe Kapler was a boob, too. Anyways, what do we got? Give us a question out of the hat, the Wawa Welcome America hat on this Fanatic Friday, Connor.
All right, let's see what we have here. This question from the hat. What Philly athlete, if forced to, would you have wanted to live their sports life? I've got an easy one.
If my first answer is Nick Foles.
Bingo.
No, of all the athletes?
Hell yeah, baby.
Yeah, because you can be a happy person.
Well, the thing is, he is a happy person.
Yeah. And he won a Super Bowl MVP. I mean, that's my first answer.
Yeah, but a Philly sports life that honestly was, it's a moment.
Yeah, the most bang for your buck, dude.
I got you. It's most bang for your buck.
And then my second thought is, all right, who was the highest paid player ever in Philadelphia sports
Tobias Harris.
No, because I don't want to feel hatred every day.
I would think you'd say Joel Embiid.
Dude, he's been hurt.
No, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to be hurt.
No, but you're talking about a happy. I think Joel is overall a happy person.
Yeah, but I don't want to be. I don't want to be hobbling every day.
He's now a gold medalist
and a Valor medal.
Winner, which, by the way, is still ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Oh man.
It's. I don't know.
Nick Foles, in terms of winning the Super Bowl MVP, the guy never needs to buy a beer again in his life in Philadelphia.
And it's an athlete.
Yeah, my second answer is who got paid the most money ever. I would like to have that person's money.
How about Joel? How about Jimmy Rollins?
That's a good one.
J-Roll's a good pick.
Jimmy Rollins is always smiling. Jimmy Rollins is the all-time hits leader for a great franchise. I think I'd go Jimmy.
That's pretty good, too.
And baseball's the one where you can walk away from the sport and be usually have the least physical issues.
You're not broken down.
Yeah, but I mean, Nick Foles does have the great equalizer.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy has one.
What equalizer are you talking about?
We'll move on.
All right, coming up next, I told you that we are going to react to
Fucking
something
arm strength.
ridiculous that was on CBS Sports.
He better have
It's
arm
about
strength.
the Eagles, something ridiculous. I'll go through that with you guys coming up next. You don't even know where I'm going at
I
here.
do not. I don't like this.
Also, the beauty of the starters not playing yesterday offensively, and I say that sarcastically, we get to talk about the backup quarterback. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Syria.
Kincade Salciunas is presented by the all-new Bet Parks app. Sportsbook and casino in one sleek, easy-to-use app in Pennsylvania, Jersey, Ohio, Maryland, and Michigan.
Damn it, my bad.
Getaway day, huh?
Yeah. Look, I'm not thinking at this point. I'm just kind of letting my just voice do whatever I have to do, and
Maybe we should have sat the starters.
I said to Connor before the show, I was like, "Is there an AI voice of mine yet that you could have just kind of thrown on the air today?"
There is one thing I've learned about my new partner.
What's that?
And I always like we have a thing in our house about you run through finish lines. Mm-hmm. So there's no on a getaway day, you should be running through that finish line.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
something. You're running through the finish line today. You came fired up.
What am I gonna do?
No, but you came fired up, ready to work, talk. You're excited and everything like that. I've known many people on my day.
I know.
When they have
and
their
in
eye
this
on-
industry, I don't get it. We're not digging ditches. We're talking sports. Like, for crying out loud.
Okay, fine. Run through the finish line, but stop running through the sponsors.
Yeah, that's my bad. I apologize. All right, I told you that we are going to react to something completely ridiculous. Now, this will either carry over for the rest of this segment, or John might just poo-poo it, and I don't blame him if he does it.
Okay.
And if you do poo-poo it, then we'll talk about the backup quarterback. So you pick your poison.
No, go for it.
React to something ridiculous, or talk about the backup quarterback.
Are you Wayne Brady? I will take what's behind door number 2, the what I do not know.
All right. So CBS Sports, Will Brinson. You know that name?
I know Will. He's a good dude.
Yeah, and
Good dude. Known him for a long
I think
time.
he does a pretty good job covering the NFL. So he put together a big piece. You know how sometimes some websites tell you how long of a read it is? I don't know why they have to do that these days, but it is a 29-minute read. He predicted every record for each team in the NFL with an explanation. And he has the win total on a specific sports book, and then he gives his prediction on the record, which will tell you whether or not he would bet the over or the under.
Okay.
So, let's go to your Philadelphia Eagles. He has the Eagles going 9-8 this season.
All right, tell me the reasoning of why he says it.
My projection is going against the Vegas implied success of the Eagles, and it's in large part because of what I expect to be a slowish start for Philadelphia. This kind of sounds like Kevin Cooney, and I don't mean that that's kind of what he says. I still see it as a likely playoff team, but it draws the Packers and 3/4 of the NFC South to start before a Week 5 bye. They have a new offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore, and even if he's an upgrade, there's some concerns after seeing the Chargers last year, plus the natural acclimation time. And they're not playing in the preseason. The loss of Jason Kelce and Fletcher Cox, the literal backbone of both the offense and defense, respectively, is kind of being glossed over this offseason. Howie Roseman did an outstanding job replacing the two ahead of time by drafting Cam Jurgens and Jordan Davis, but there's a chance this team starts a little slow as they adjust to all the changes. And that's his reasoning. Now, of course, as the season goes on, the schedule gets more difficult for the Eagles. We know, like, the Rams and Ravens back-to-back, blah, blah, blah. Look, he's not saying anything hot-takey in it.
A little bit.
But I'll say this. If the Eagles go 9-8, Nick Sirianni's fired, and we're talking about a lot of issues with the Eagles. 9-8's ridiculous, dude.
9-8 is absolutely absurd.
It's ridiculous.
There's nobody, even if you played the stupid, lazy-ass sports radio wins and losses game, that could come up with 8 losses on this schedule.
Kevin Cooney did, didn't he? Or no, he had him 10-7.
He had him 10-7. And look, Kevin. I had to finally last night give him the Eeyore with the dark cloud over him raining on him, because it's just I can't. Oh man, it was. Oh boy, last night, Kevin. If the Eagles better hope their starters stay healthy, because this team's cooked if they're not. I can't even fathom it. The Kansas City. If Kansas City loses Patrick Mahomes, they're cooked. Okay. If Brock Purdy goes down, San Francisco's going nowhere. Gotcha. Every team, if their starters go down, if they lose critical starters, is going to be cooked.
Right.
Whether they have good backups or not, it's going to be cooked. I don't know how to handle it anymore. This team is not a 9-8 football team.
So here's what's funny, right? Now, I get it. Schedules are different because they're playing a second-place schedule compared to the Commanders playing were they last place or the Giants last place?
Giants. I think Giants were last. Oh, maybe not.
No, I think Commanders had the higher pick, right?
The Commodes did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
He has the Commanders going 7-10. So, like, you're telling me this Eagles team, with every weapon that they have on offense, and with a respected defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, and a lot to prove coming off of last season, which I think that should be. I know there's people that are concerned about what happened last season carrying over. I'm turning it. We've done this a lot. We're turning it into a positive, right?
Yes.
Even though they peed away season last year, and I'll never forgive them for it. I'm using last year as the motivational push this season. He has the Eagles winning 2 more games than the Washington Commanders, and oh, by the way, 3 more games than the New York Giants.
Now I have told you before, I'm commandered up.
I know you are.
I respect the hell out of Dan Quinn. I know what he has. Dan Quinn is I would describe it as can be for a franchise, can be a Red Bull. That you're going to get the rush, you're going to get the energy, you're going to get that, and then eventually that will wear off.
Right.
He's Coach Bumper Sticker. He's a big bumper sticker slogan guy.
Okay.
And he really does get people going. I like where the Skins are, the Commanders are heading. I hope that didn't offend anybody. I hope that where they're heading. I enjoy that.
But 2 games back of the Eagles.
No, that's ridiculous.
Right? Like,
and you know what? I think Will's got to know that's ridiculous. So he must be predicting that the Cowboys
they must win 11
are going to have a great. You got it.
11-6 is the prediction he has for the Cowboys. Now, this is what's funny. So I read the write-up for the Eagles. His write-up for the Cowboys, I won't go the whole way, but the first 2 sentences are, the range of the outcomes for the Cowboys this year is pretty wide. As you can tell by me having them on my might miss the playoffs list and simultaneously putting them down for 11 wins in the Brinson model. So, like, in one article, he has them as might miss the playoffs. In another article, he has them winning the division by 2 whole games, mind you, above the Eagles. And the Eagles are only 2 games ahead of the Commanders for second place in the division. Like, come on, man. There's no way anybody actually thinks the Eagles are going to go 9-8 this season. That's crazy to me.
That's nuts. It's you know what it is, though? Is that there are people who, their eyeballs, they saw this team, a lot of the same roster last year, poop themselves in the worst way possible, 1-7 down the stretch. And they are choosing to believe that is who they really are. If they are proven correct, it's a shame and a scandal on the whole franchise.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't believe it is close. I don't believe it's close to that. And again, I think that 11 would be the floor.
Yeah, I agree with Johnny. I think he's flat out wrong, and I don't know how you get to that explanation based on the talent level of this team. Also, the Brinson model, like, all due respect, you're not Neil deGrasse Tyson. Like, I don't know what the model is. I think these are just predictions.
Now, so it looks like, and this isn't a defense of him, he doesn't have any team going like 13-4. The best record he gives, which this is how I know it's wrong, by the way, because when's the last time the most wins in the season? Oh my God, he has the Rams win the division. He has the Rams going 12-5 and the Niners going 11-6.
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. I said it to you. I think the Niners are taking a step back. I think Detroit's taking a step back. I think Houston's taking a step back. I don't think something like that's outlandish at all. I really don't.
But he has 3 teams finishing with the best record in the NFL of 12-5. Since when have we seen it? Like, every year there's a 14-win team or a 13-win team. Like, especially with the added game.
Oh, exactly. I think the NFC looks very mediocre, and to me, that means we're going to get a 13-win team.
Absolutely, and I think the AFC has a handful of teams that could get there if things go right. Like,
no
I think
question.
The Bengals could be that team. The Ravens could be that team.
Right.
The Chiefs could be that team.
Mean, the NFC has, if the NFC champion is someone other than the 5 that we sort of talked about last week, San Fran, Green Bay, Detroit, the Eagles, maybe the Cowboys. I don't know. I think the AFC's much bigger crapshoot.
Yeah. I think I'm sorry.
And
it's
you know
crazy.
what, Will? The weird thing is that Will is not a hot take writer.
No, he's not. But
So that does surprise me. That's a bold take, but it ain't beautiful.
No, it's absolutely not. So look, if you want to react to that, Will Brinson of CBS has the Eagles going 9-8 this season. I think that's absolutely crazy talk. And he didn't write, because of an injury too. No, he believes, looking at this team, they're going 9-8. Your reaction to that at 610-632-0975. And wow, that went longer than expected. So we can talk about the backup quarterback battle coming up next,
I want
Johnny.
to. Yeah,
I know
to.
you do. I know you
do.
feel a certain type of way about it too. It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Fanatic Friday, 97.5 The Fanatic.
The real and inside story on the Phillies is on the best.
It is 7:47 on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic on this Fanatic Friday. Talking a lot about the Eagles, talking about the Phillies and their win yesterday. The Eagles preseason reaction, and of course, the latest thing that I just brought to the table, Will Brinson of CBS predicted every record across the NFL, and he has the Eagles finishing 9-8.
I just texted him, and I'll see if he's awake.
All right, and if he comes on,
Brinson's a good dude.
I will feel comfortable saying I think that's a crazy prediction, but I'll let him explain why.
He'll absolutely love the fact the more you come at him as far as just being like, okay, this sounds ridiculous. He plays.
Yeah.
He knows how to play.
I just hate how, it's only 2 more wins than the Commanders and only 3 more wins than the New York Giants. And the Giants, come on, the Giants are going to freaking suck this year. They're going to be so bad, and they're going to be 6-11, so they're going to overplay to a 6-11 record, but the Eagles are going to fall short and go 9-8.
So he has dumb. 6. I'm just trying to look at the record. So he has 6-7.
Well, that's what I'm trying. Who?
9 and what does he have? Cowboys 11.
11-6. So are they? Is everybody splitting in the division?
Well, I think we got to get Will Brinson to do wins and losses if we get him
think
on.
so.
Look, he has the average being almost 9 wins for the NFC East. No way.
Yeah, there's no way. That's why when I went through this, I was like, come on, there's no way you actually feel this way. But if he actually feels that way, we'll let him explain it if he does get back to you. You can text it. You can call in 610-632-0975. Your reaction to that somebody is predicting the Eagles to go 9-8. Now, I will say this.
What are you saying?
We have not seen many national media people say 12-5, 13-4 for the Eagles.
No.
I think a lot of national people are hesitant because of what happened last year. Every morning, I like to look at the different websites, right? And I check out ESPN, and it's Get Up, and it's always the same thing. They better get off to a hot start. Nick Sirianni's on a hot seat. Nobody says, hey, I think everything's behind them. They're going to be good. Have we talked, other than Adam Schefter, have we talked to anybody or have we mentioned anybody, read anything from a national media member that believes the Eagles are going to bounce back this year? I don't think so.
No, not in yeah, but I've seen a lot of them think they're winning the division.
Well, Schefter is pretty high on the Eagles.
Schefter's high
that's what I said. He's the only guy I've heard.
My bad.
And yeah, he is. But other than that,
I
know that there are national media people picking the Eagles to win the NFC East, but I don't hear any about the Eagles being the big splash team in the NFL. How about that? That winning the NFC East is honestly not exactly going to be some huge accomplishment.
Right, it might not be.
I got to tell you, and it's going to be controversial, I think winning the NL East this year isn't exactly a boffo accomplishment. When you lose everybody that Atlanta lost.
Right, but
it was supposed to be a 2-team race.
But if you win the division and the top seed in the National League East, or in the National League, that's different.
But I think also if you win the top seed in the National League East, and you're the NL East champions and you win the top seed, it's going to be a product of you played in a division that was way down.
Right.
Because the Dodgers have the Diamondbacks and the Padres in their division, who all 3 of them may make the playoffs.
I don't think that's unfair at all.
Right.
As far as that.
By the way, Eagles Wire, they're with USA Today, Sixers Wire,
sure,
Eagles
absolutely.
Wire. So I want to give them their credit. On May 17th, they scoured the internet and saw what a lot of people were saying about the Philadelphia Eagles. Fox Sports, their team had them at 12-5. Bleacher Report 12-5.
That's good. Yeah.
Pro Football Network had them at 10-7 and the 6th seed in the NFC.
Kevin Cooney may write for them.
The 33rd team had them at 12-5. NFL.com had them at 11-6. CBS Sports. Oh, here you go. You got one. CBS Sports did have them at 13-4.
Okay.
So
was that Jeff Kerr maybe?
No,
CBS?
it was not Jeff Kerr because they didn't want to go with any the local people.
Good. One thing I would note too is as I'm making poking fun there at Kevin. I just think Kevin's got Kevin Cooney, our own Kevin Cooney. I know he has a journalist approach to everything.
Yes.
So he is at a low. Kevin believes that what we saw last year at the end of the year, that they're closer to the team that collapsed than the team that was great. I choose to be on the other side. One of us is going to be right.
Right.
I mean, it's going to be.
And by the way, his
His
1-3 prediction to start the season isn't far off of what Will Brinson says.
No,
saying,
I mean, it's
a tough game against the Packers in Week 1, and then you have to play the NFC South, for 3 straight
right.
weeks.
And that Atlanta game just got a lot worse.
It did because they
secondary
acquired some
just
players.
got a lot better.
They get Justin Simmons yesterday. They traded for Judon. We know that Kirk Cousins has had success against the Eagles secondary in the past.
A lot
That's
of
all
stats.
good. Primetime game, so
And,
we'll
a
have to
lot,
worry
and a
about it.
lot of stats.
And a lot of stats. All right, let's. I want to get your thoughts.
Let's do this.
I want to get your thoughts on the backup quarterback. So when we have more time,
Okay.
let's go to Eric in Marlton. Eric, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Good morning, guys. First off, I just want to say the three of you, my 3 favorite people talking sports on any in any way.
You're
Thank
the
you,
man,
Eric.
A.
We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it, buddy.
Thank you.
I love you guys. So I'm a Jets fan. Unfortunately, I didn't call to talk about that. I speak to a therapist every week about that. I'm from Brooklyn. I live in Jersey now, so that's a separate thing. So I watch every Eagles game because I live here and I get every Eagles game. And I saw all the moves this offseason. I really followed the Eagles close. They're my NFC team because I hate the Giants and the Cowboys, so by default.
Okay.
But I'm not an Eagles fan. But
I got you.
So I did all the records, too, just because I have no life, and this is what I do. And I had the Eagles winning 13. I have the Cowboys actually winning 9, just because they still have a lot of talent despite all the craziness that's going on there, and Dallas is a hot mess. I mean, Adam Schefter's right. Not that he needs me to tell me he's right, but Dallas is a hot mess. So anybody I didn't realize that until I moved here. I always heard that, the national media hates on the Philadelphia area as far as the sports teams. And I really honestly believe that there's some weird stigma against this area. God, how could this team with this loaded offense, even if the defense isn't great, they're going to score the high 30s every game. They're going to outscore people.
Right, and it's funny, Eric. A lot of people will source what happened last year as to why they might start off the gate slow, or there might be turmoil with the Eagles. But nobody wants to bring up the Cowboys, who a lot of people still pick them to win the division, having turmoil today. Like the Eagles' turmoil took place last year. In the calendar year of 2023, except for the playoff game. The Cowboys' turmoil is happening on August 16th, 2024. That is today's date.
Yeah, and how the Cowboys don't have CeeDee Lamb locked up. I mean, he's a top 3 or 4 wide receiver.
He is. He's incredible, and that's something that they got to figure out. Thanks for the call, Eric, and the kind words. We appreciate it, man.
Let me ask you real quickly. If I said to you right now the Eagles are going to score 30-plus, the Eagles are going to score 29 points a game, or the Eagles are going to be 13-4. One of those things is going to be true. Are we all taking the points per game?
Why can't they both be true?
No, if they're one of them is going to be true.
The 29 points per game.
That's what
Because
I
I think that carries into the
probably.
playoffs.
And then we'd worry about it.
Coming up next, we do a little quick show reset. We have today's headlines with Connor Thomas at 8:05, which also means a question out of the hat on a Fanatic Friday. And John Kincade and his opinion on the backup quarterback. And we'll play Nick Sirianni and what he had to say about the backup quarterback battle.
And a deal that wasn't made.
It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. One on Kincade and Salciunas on this Fanatic Friday. 97.5 The Fanatic coming up at 8:05. Today's headlines with Connor Thomas, as we do every single day, except for when Dan Orlovsky says, hey, Connor, beat it. That was earlier this week. But he's back.
I don't think he said that specifically.
No, that's what he told me.
No, that's what we said.
No, he agreed to the time. He said on one condition, as long as headlines doesn't happen. I said, all right, Danny, whatever you want to say.
Wow, we got new beef now.
Well, we got that coming up at 8:05. And after today's headlines, John's going to, we'll both talk about the backup quarterback battle. I just have a bit of a different opinion on who the options are than you, even though I get where you're coming from.
Right.
I just don't value the position as much, and I wonder if I should because the Eagles won a Super Bowl because of one. So we'll get to that coming up following today's headlines. But here's what we're talking about today. We're reacting to the Eagles preseason game yesterday in which the starters did not play offensively. A lot of them did play defensively. Nick Sirianni spoke out of both sides of his mouth as to why the offensive stars did not play, but the defensive stars did play. And also, we're talking about the Phillies, and we're gonna get into something at like 8:30 today. So after our backup quarterback discussion. And it's about maybe not necessarily Weston Wilson himself, but the outfield and how every single week it seems like our opinion changes as who the outfield should be. And I wonder if this is just going to be something that we're going to deal with the rest of the way. I know Austin Hayes is out with the injury right now.
He
and
should
he's gonna
be
come
back
soon. Yeah, it was the hammy.
Soon.
He'll come back at some point, but you got a lot of guys out there, and I don't, other than Castellanos, like, look, Rojas is playing good baseball right now. Nick Castellanos is the only guy that you know for certain will be in the lineup every single day. Whether you agree or disagree with the handling of Johan Rojas, you know that there's not a lock that he's in the lineup every single day. You have like a rotation of outfielders right now. I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't know if that's a bad thing. We will have that discussion coming up. But, Connor, give us a text about the Phils because I know people are, I think, excited today. I'm not sure. One of our questions today, it was part 7, are the Phillies out of it? And I'm not ready to say that yet. It's just been nice to see good wins the last 2 nights.
Colin in Huntington Valley says, let the Negadelphians and doubters wallow. Me, I'm calling the MLB We're Back department and filing a claim. This team rides the waves of vibes, and those vibes are high right now.
Okay, I love that. And look, I'm not like saying, wake me up when. I'm not about to go out and say the season's back.
And as I said earlier in the show today, when I watched, all the credit in the world to Brandon Marsh, when I watched Brandon Marsh be the person that was so positive on the Phillies, that's the vibes that matter. Teams, teamwork, being that they're connected in that way matters to me.
Right.
And look, I see it with the Eagles too, though. Last night on the sideline of that Eagles game, the veterans were connected to that game, and we're greeting all the young guys.
There's a video that's going around of Ngata, the wide receiver.
Sure.
He's who knows if he makes team. I think he was a practice squad guy last year. He fought for a first down, and A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, all in street clothes, ran up to him from the sideline, like smacking his helmet.
See, to me,
like that's cool.
To me, that is the vibes that matter.
Right.
It's not somebody with cardboard on their head dancing around in a champagne dance. It's the vibes. The vibes that matter are: does guy 1 on the roster care about guy 53?
Right.
Does guy
guy
right? Whatever.
Guy off the roster.
Sure.
You know what I
love
mean?
it.
Like I don't know if Ngata's a lock to make the roster.
That to me is a good culture.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And Brandon Marsh, you're a good man. You're a good man. Rooting for your teammates, even when you're the one getting set aside a little bit.
All right, it's time now for today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
What up, Connor?
You guys want to hear something stupid?
Always.
Oh, wait a minute. This segment.
Easy. This is a great segment. But
oh my God.
I'll tell you, that was pointed. He had that one ready to go.
It was right in the chamber.
Let's move on.
So Monday morning or Wednesday when I'm back, is John going to say, hey, by the way, We X'd the headlines.
We X'd it.
Who knows what's going to happen now? My
No,
goodness.
because Brendan will be doing it and they'll be really good.
Wow. Jesus.
They'll be really good. Go
Okay,
on.
that's all for today's headlines.
Go on.
Now, Nick Wright talked about what Jaylen Hurts has been doing in preseason and training camp, and he had one heck of a take yesterday on the interceptions or lack thereof.
I don't care. I know I'm right. 0 picks through 20 practices, too few. I know it sounds absurd and it sounds like I'm just picking on guys. I don't mean it. It's too few. I need a little bit in training camp of like, oh, I took a chance there. It either means, in my opinion, either that you are being a little too cautious, or this horrendous back seven from last year somehow has gotten worse. You need a couple interceptions where it's mid-August in training camp. I know I'm right.
Well, first off, anybody who comes with I know I'm right. He has no personal knowledge of the Philadelphia Eagles. Nick Wright is a shot glass of information when it comes to anything going on in this city. What Nick Wright has in contacts, information, or anything about the Philadelphia Eagles, honestly, the pee that dripples on the floor below the urinal is deeper than the knowledge pool Nick Wright has.
What drugs did you do during the last break?
I swear to you,
Connor,
everybody.
Nick Wright is
under
just
urinals?
Nick Wright is it is a clown show. The content on that show, he is so desperate to be the next Skip Bayless.
So look, I get what he's
so
saying.
Desperate.
I get what he's saying about like he must be taking the safe route of things.
But he does it without any knowledge.
Right, but at the same time, like, okay. So he's careful with the football, and it's not like he's throwing the football away.
Right. Like Brock Purdy made it to the Super Bowl last year by making hero throws. Like,
right. He's still completing the passes.
I can't.
That's so dumb.
I mean, oh my gosh.
So dumb.
You know, it's
and the Dumb and Dumber haircut.
All right,
that's a whole
easy
nother
on
issue.
the long hair too, because come on, I'm not too far off from what he's got working. But we all agree, dumb take there. Jaylen, take care of the football.
Yes,
ridiculous.
Jaylen,
I mean,
do your job.
Like, yeah, go ahead,
Good
Jaylen.
job.
You know what, Jaylen? I want you to throw an interception today.
So stupid.
Whatever.
It's ridiculous.
Whatever.
All right. Next thing, the Sixers' full schedule got released yesterday. Now, we don't need to do W's and L's for all 82, unless you guys want to. But just your
We have that
initial...
penciled in for Monday, Connor.
Perfect. Hey, we'll lead
That's in
off
the
with
promo.
it. That's great. Any initial reaction to things that you're seeing, stretches, anything at all?
No. West Coast swing. I love the West Coast swing coming early. The LA, Phoenix. I love that that's coming in the first month of the season because I sort of hate that when it shows up in March. So I'll take that as a positive there.
You know, the only things when the NBA schedule. So, like, look, you laugh at, scoff at doing W's and L's in the NFL, and I understand, right? But I could come up with a educated, at least in my opinion, educated prediction on a record in the NFL. It's 17 games. I know the rosters pretty well. The ebbs and flows of an NBA season, NHL season, MLB season. I don't make it a big deal. Like when I saw on Twitter, here's the schedule. I barely look at it except for, all right, are they playing Christmas Day? Who are they opening up the season with?
5 o'clock Christmas Day.
And
what's your thoughts on that?
That's awesome because I've already cooked.
5 o'clock Christmas Day's awesome.
Yeah. Like the Eagles game last year was happening during cooking time, which was a problem. 5 o'clock, I think I'm done cooking at that point. But yeah, I mean, look, I don't really make anything of it. I see that the first game is in Milwaukee, so I get to be like, oh, wow, cool. They're playing Milwaukee. Oh, no, they're at home against Milwaukee. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Doc's back in town.
Yeah. And, you know, no, so I don't make much of it.
Okay, and they do have one thing. This is Brendan Gunn's takeaway, so I'm going to steal it, but I'm giving him credit. 15 back-to-backs this year for the Sixers as opposed to 11 last year. That's a little bit annoying, but like.
But I saw something. Look, I think Adam Silver is. My opinion changes on him constantly because I think he does some smart things. I also think he does some dumb things. I like this one. Tim Renton, who covers the NBA in Florida. He's noticed something that any NBA team that plays a high-profile national televised game, so not like NBA TV, but like ESPN, TNT, you're not going to play the day before or the day after. So if, let's say the Sixers are playing on a Wednesday night TNT game.
They won't play Tuesday.
They won't play Tuesday or they
Thursday.
won't play Thursday. So there's no chances of, well, we're going to rest this guy because it's the first or second game of a back-to-back.
Smart.
And I think that's very smart of the NBA to do. Do I think that's going to boost ratings? No, because the NBA themselves have told you they don't care about the regular season. They care about the playoffs. But I do think that's a smart thing that you know, unless it's an injury, that the star players will probably be playing on a nationally televised game.
Last thing here to bring it back, a little bit of conversation we had earlier in the show.
I'll ask this question. John, and I'll join you. We're more excited, more confident in this Eagles team today since the start of training camp. But we've been consistently excited and confident about this team. For a lot of you, you're kind of waiting to see how it looks. Have you gotten more confident, more excited for the Eagles since the start of training camp over the last couple of weeks? How are you feeling?
Now, I got to ask you guys to expound a little bit on your point, because to me, I don't think my opinion on this team has changed all that much over what we've seen in like training camp and preseason. They've kind of been status quo. So for me, I believe that they are the team I thought they were a month ago. And that hasn't really shifted. But I want to know why you guys, like, just give me a little more detail as to why you guys are feeling better about the team now.
Well, obviously the defense is a big part of it, like seeing some guys actually explode a little bit. And I know it's against backup players, but you're feeling good. And coming from all the reports that there are cornerbacks that are like legit cornerbacks, like they finally have depth. When's the last time we've seen depth at the cornerback position when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles? But my biggest one for the offense, look, I'm not there. I don't see the play designs. Jaylen Hurts looking explosive. According to the people that are at training camp, and then from what we saw in the videos that have been posted from open practice, him being explosive is a big part of this offense that they were without last year.
I'm going to say that watching the backup players on offense execute an offense that looks so much more complex than last year's first-team offense has got me excited. I'm thinking, wait a minute, all this movement, all this creativity. Oh, and I'm going to get it with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley.
We were talking about the two-point conversion during one of the commercial breaks.
Yeah, I mean, Shane Haft does a really nice job breaking down a lot of this video and watching like that two-point conversion draw up last night. And he's executing with half those guys won't be on the roster.
Right.
And it was beautiful. It was just fun. Nothing we saw last year was that complex.
Those are
he's
valid
getting
points.
broken up by it.
I am.
It's so beautiful.
I'm very choked up. Look, 2 creams, 1 sugar sucked the life out of me last year.
Hey, you're getting so emotional about it.
What I will say, like where I think I'm at, and part of the reason, like I skew heavily positive. That's not news to you guys or anyone listening.
Yeah,
you are.
So
You're sunshine.
I expect like the things that should be good. I expect them to be good, and I'm not as much a wait and see, but believe it's going to happen until I'm proven wrong. So I guess all I've seen is just what we thought could be the right case scenario has happened. So maybe that's why my expectations haven't
How about
changed
good
all that
health
much.
too?
Yeah, absolutely. But that's kind of the thing
That's
that you
nice,
always
too.
assume until it
Definitely
changes.
nice. Yeah.
Unless you're Andrew, who's going to vocalize major.
stop. Get the hell-
Well, thank God nothing happened.
Get the hell out of here.
That's why they didn't play him last night.
That's
Nick
what it is,
Sirianni said
because
so.
Yeah, he was listening to the show and
Nick
he
was
said that,
listening on the
that
app.
Andrew Salciunas freaked me out. All right, so Johnny,
Yes, sir.
the backup quarterback battle that isn't one. Here's Nick Sirianni yesterday talking. He was asked about, I guess, the positioning of depth chart for the quarterbacks, and here's a quick response from him.
Kenny, you saw where they went in today. Kenny's our number 2. Tanner's our number 3, and I'm really happy that those guys are both on the roster.
And very short and sweet. Now, a lot of people are pointing out that Tanner McKee played better than Kenny Pickett again yesterday. I will remind you once again, Tanner McKee went in after Kenny Pickett, which means he's going in when other players of the Patriots are off the field. So he's going up against other third-string players. But Tanner McKee has some things to him that you go, all right, it looks like he could throw the football a little bit. But that's not what's bothering you today.
What's bothering me is the fact that you could have paid less to acquire Justin Fields. He was on the table. You could have paid less to get Justin Fields away from the Bears than you did to buy Kenny Pickett. There's an extra year involved with Kenny Pickett, so I understand that maybe Howie would see that in more value. But if your eyeballs show you that Kenny Pickett is a more viable NFL quarterback and a more viable NFL quarterback to replace Jaylen Hurts if Jaylen Hurts is out, I'm going to tell you, I really, really question it, and I think this is a rare, huge swing and a miss by Howie Roseman.
Yeah, I think the control was probably a big part of it.
An extra year, and I understand that, and that's why I put then the argument that there's there. Justin Fields is a better NFL quarterback than Kenny Pickett. Justin Fields is a better option if Jaylen Hurts was out of the lineup, skill set-wise, to be able to plug in. Jaylen Hurts, Justin Fields can handle short, decisive throws. It's the other stuff when you got to have him throwing downfield and being real aggressive that's a problem.
Right, and I saw that a lot last year.
Kellen Moore's offense is beautiful. 7 to 12-yard throws all day long. That's the strength of Justin Fields. I'm just saying to you, you could have paid less. And if anything went wrong with Jaylen Hurts and you felt Jaylen wasn't going to be the guy moving forward, wouldn't it be nice to have at least one guy who is potentially a viable option to be a starter in the NFL already on your roster that you could work with?
There were people that wanted the Eagles to draft Justin Fields.
Oh, there were.
This was after Jaylen Hurts played his rookie season, first year as a starter. There were people that wanted the Eagles to draft Justin Fields. So, I don't know, man. I said this.
He's better than Kenny Pickett, bottom line, and you paid more for Kenny Pickett.
Well, you paid more because you have the extra year, and that's
correct. I don't know if I want an extra. If someone sells me a crappy car, I don't want. Well, but look, we're going to give it to you for 2 years on this lease. I don't give a crap.
Now, I'll say what I said when this show, one of the very first days of this show, because it wasn't long after free agency started.
Sure, it wasn't.
Right? I remember saying it doesn't matter if it's Justin Fields or if it's Kenny Pickett. They both stink, and if Jaylen Hurts gets hurt, you're screwed. I still feel that way. Now, for a game or two, sure, Justin Fields is better than Kenny Pickett, and there might be a game or two.
That is what you most expect with a Jaylen Hurts, that a game or two you're going to need a quarterback. Justin Fields would be, this year, a year you can go to the Super Bowl. If Jaylen Hurts missed 2 games, that seems to be what can happen with Jaylen Hurts. If he misses 2 games, you got a much better chance to win with Justin Fields than Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett looks like a lame horse.
Well, look, he was 11 of 13 yesterday, so he was completing his passes. The one that one of the incompletions was that deep shot to John Ross that he somehow overthrew, like John Ross, the fastest man in the world. If Kenny Pickett's 11 of 13 with those receivers that he played with yesterday, I would hope that he could be pretty good with the receivers of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. Now, granted, he'd be going up against, number one on depth chart defensive players as well. I just kind of believe what I believe. I don't think Kenny Pickett or Justin Fields would win you many games if asked upon.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at, too. Like,
who do you think wins more? Who do you think they have a better chance to win with?
Probably Justin Fields because
skill set for
he's
one
more
thing.
like Jaylen Hurts, right?
Yeah. But in the year you went to the Super Bowl, and I know this is like a small sample size, but Gardner Minshew played, and he had his moments in that Cowboys game, but they lost both those games, and then Hurts
they didn't lose that game because of him, though.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying you lost both those games without Hurts, and then he comes back, and everything's okay, and they go to the Super Bowl.
It's not like Gardner Minshew has similar skill sets to Jaylen Hurts.
If you're going to need those 2 games, I do think there's going to be other things we look at where we say they put themselves in position to have more problems. Like, this team is talented enough that they should be able to have a bit of a buffer.
Yeah, they should be. But if you need it, and you needed a couple wins, I am absolutely convinced Justin Fields would be a better guy to have on your roster than Kenny Pickett.
Probably true.
So, and you paid more. And you paid more to have Kenny Pickett.
Haven't lost an ounce of sleep over it.
Well, I figured.
Well, you're losing enough sleep over Coop.
Yes. That's where my attention of lack of sleep is going to. All right, coming up next, we'll get some of your reaction to all of our topics today. Will Brinson has Eagles going 9-8 this year, which is absurd.
And he must not be up this morning because he has not texted me back.
Yeah, must be. Also, I told you we were going to get into it coming up next. Phillies outfield, speaking of position battles with the Eagles, are we having quiet position battles with the Phillies in the outfield? We'll dive deep into it coming up next. It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Fanatic Friday, 97.5 The Fanatic. Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic on this Fanatic Friday. Talking a lot about our Philadelphia Eagles today, but also the Phillies because they had another nice win yesterday.
When did you move to Delco?
Eagles,
I like it.
just every once in a while.
I like it. It slips out.
You let it slip.
I like that.
Every once in a while. My uncle,
Is he an
Mike,
Eagles
who
guy?
I'll be seeing this weekend. He lives in Brigantine
So
too.
he's my uncle by default
Yes,
too? then?
yeah, because you're adopted.
Okay.
He's an Eagles guy. Like he was the first person I remember in my life saying Eagles.
Eagles. Every one of my uncles.
Yeah,
They all did.
the Eagles, man.
They were Ardmore
Yeah.
people, so they were very much Eagles.
So talking about our Eagles, but also the Phillies after a nice win yesterday. So, last night was magical, right? Weston Wilson with the cycle. Do I believe that Weston Wilson is an everyday baseball player? No, he should not be. And if anybody says that, I think you're kind of crazy. But that's all right. But I do want to run this by you guys, and I want to have a legit conversation.
Okay.
Is there a set outfield on this baseball team?
No.
Pretty much, yes.
You think there is?
Is that like you believe?
All of a sudden we have a set outfield?
You believe it's? I'm gonna guess that it's Austin Hayes, platoon of Marsh and Rojas, Castellanos and Wright.
Absolutely. No doubt in my mind.
I just like Brandon Marsh. It could just be a rough patch for him. He cannot play baseball right now.
I got you. No, he had 2 hits the other night, so
Yeah, he did.
you do love to see that.
He raised his batting average.
And
with
like
those.
off last night against the lefty. Like I don't know, man. I understand what you're saying. You know where I stand on Brandon Marsh.
You know where I stand on Brandon Marsh.
I do,
I'm
but
not I like him as a person. I love him as a teammate. We have spoken
Absolutely.
glowingly about Brandon Marsh today, and he didn't play yesterday. He came in eventually as a defensive guy. But I don't know. Like this outfield has been a problem of mine since opening day. As you guys know, I was upset that Johan Rojas was anointed the starting center fielder, just like Reed Blankenship was anointed the starting safety last year. I did not like that they did not bring anybody in of note before the trade deadline. Austin Hayes is a nice little baseball player. Do I believe Austin Hayes is a franchise-changing player? I do not. Left field and center field are both still question marks for the best team in baseball, in my opinion. And they're still winning baseball games. But I look at those 2 spots, and I don't feel comfortable. I'll say this. Comfortable saying, that's my outfield. The Austin Hayes left field every day. When they first traded for him, I thought he was going to be a part of this platoon. I did not know that Rob Thompson would eventually say he was their everyday left fielder.
He said it within 24 hours of his arrival.
I know, and I don't
That it would be.
see him as that.
I don't necessarily either, but one thing I do know is that center field shouldn't be a platoon.
Right, you think Rojas should be your everyday
it shouldn't
center
be a
fielder.
platoon. It's like it's ridiculous. He's better at the plate. He's better in the field.
So I'll say this.
I mean, come on now.
I'll ask you this. If you don't think he should be platoon, you think Johan Rojas should be penciled in 9-hole starting center fielder?
I'm going to say 4 out of 5, 6 out of 8.
No, I'm playoffs.
It should be him. Oh, no.
Because right
he
now,
should be the center fielder.
All right, let's turn our attention to the playoffs.
He should be
right?
the center fielder,
all right.
period.
So then
batting ninth, your center fielder.
So are you
Johan Rojas.
platooning Hayes and Marsh, or is Hayes your everyday left fielder? Now Marsh is just a bench piece.
I'm letting that go. I'm going to tell it by the end of the season, and we've got 41 games left. I'm going to let the end of the season determine that.
So you're comfortable saying Johan Rojas, game 1, hopefully NLDS, not wild card round.
There's no question, and I promise you this, and I can speak from some firsthand accountability on this. Ask the pitchers on the Phillies
I'm not
who they
with
want
you.
behind them in center field in a big game. They're going to tell you Johan Rojas.
Yeah, but the pitchers don't manage the team. There's more to it.
I understand, but the thing is, pitching and defense, it matters. I don't care what somebody from the analytics department is going to tell me. Baseball people will tell you. I guarantee it $1,000 that is what Nola, Wheeler, Suarez would all tell you.
Yeah, they like
They
him out
want
there.
that guy protecting your outfield.
Right, but there's more than he's not just a defensive player. He's got to hit. And I know he's been barreling some baseballs
he
lately.
has been, yeah.
And more importantly, he's been doing exactly what they said minimum they needed him to do.
I got you.
He's exceeded it.
I have no knock on Johan Rojas, but think about this, guys. I know Brandon Marsh has not been in a good spot, but let's be realistic about the type of player he can be, okay? Basically, what you're asking.
I don't know.
Stop it.
I don't know what that player
listen,
can be.
Listen to what I'm about to say.
Okay.
Can Brandon Marsh be Johan Rojas? Like, I'm not talking about defensively. Offensively, can Brandon Marsh be Johan Rojas?
He can be better than Johan Rojas.
Perfect, because that's all he's got to be in a platoon.
No, he can't. He can't because he is not. He is not Johan Rojas. Half the game is defense. He is not
offensively.
No, but I mean, you can't just say offense. You can't say offense only because a baseball player is everything that they bring to the table, and then it's everything that they bring.
This wouldn't be the first time that a player was out in the field that was on the team because of their bat.
I got you. But if you're comparing the two players, I agree with you. Marsh has a better potential ceiling at the plate.
Right.
It is a huge, not a huge disparity. It is a disparity of their defensive abilities.
Absolutely. And Marsh as an overall
hitter. And it is bigger than at the plate.
I strongly disagree. I think Marsh's ceiling is significantly higher than Rojas's at the plate. I think Rojas's ceiling is higher than Marsh's in the field. And I think ultimately that becomes a wash, and that's why you platoon them. And some days you'll have better defense and worse offense. And some days you'll have better offense, ideally, and worse defense.
You can't be striking out 32% of the time as a major league player, and it's too long. It's not a small sample size.
Okay.
And at least Rojas is going to put a ball in play that he might be able to beat out for a base hit.
Let's not pretend Rojas hasn't had strikeout issues at points.
No, he has. Did he ever strike out 32% of the time over the amount of at-bats that Marsh has? I do not believe that is the case.
No, he has 52 strikeouts this year and 287 plays.
I mean, it is not the same.
Okay.
It is and more importantly, too, he can put the bat on the ball and maybe beat out a ball that maybe Trey Turner would be the only guy that could beat it into a base hit.
I got you. The other thing we got to remember, like moments, okay? This is part of the conversation around the Weston Wilson thing, where people are like, oh, does he deserve more playing time?
I saw somebody tweet out, we found an everyday outfielder before yesterday. So his 4 for 5 performance, magical, loved it, awesome, not taking that away from him. He was hitting 273 before that. 241 before that, 214 before that, and he was under 200 before that because he had been given limited plate appearances. There's a reason why at the age of 29 he's only in his second year as a kind of quad A player. Like Weston Wilson, if he was this great outfielder that some are making him out to be because he hit for the cycle yesterday.
I don't think they are. I think they're making it out to be he's a better option.
Okay.
In their minds.
So
he looks better. I'll tell you this. Weston Wilson, anytime I've seen him bat, he looks like a better option at the plate.
So I saw a great tweet after his last game, which was a week ago when he played for the Diamondbacks. Again, the Phillies tell you what they think about him.
Sure.
He hit a double. He connected on one. And somebody said, I don't know what it is, but when he makes contact, he looks like a great baseball player. The problem is he doesn't always make contact. The problem is he's a 29-year-old who's only in the major leagues for the second year of his career.
Also, who's he facing? Like, they're not putting Weston Wilson in against the other team's ace. He's getting at bats against lefties that he matches up well against they believe he has a chance.
It's kind of like Derek Hall. Remember, everybody got excited because he hit home runs against the Nationals, and then he would play against legit pitchers, and he'd be horrible, and that's why they DFA'd him the other day.
By the way, let's pause real quick. We're not trying to kill the guy the day after he hit for the cycle.
No, and I'm not trying to kill him. I'm asking. Here's my question. I'm actually talking about him in a positive way.
Yes.
Do we know for a fact that the outfield conversation is over? We know Real Muto's your catcher. Harper's your first baseman. Stott's your second baseman against righties. Edmundo Sosa should be your second baseman against lefties unless Stott turns things around. You know that Turner's at short. You know that Bohm's at third. You know that Castellanos is at right. Left field and center field on August 16th, I don't believe you believe that that's what you think. But do you believe that the Phillies know that left field and center field are set?
Absolutely. You did not trade for Austin Hayes to not play him. He's going to be a guy out there. And if you're not going to platoon him, which the Phillies have shown you they're not going to do, he's going to be your everyday left fielder down the stretch once he's healthy. And in center field, you'd be dumb to not use both Rojas.
Right, you're not going to play Weston Wilson in center field.
Right. It's just like Weston Wilson and Stevenson, they don't really have a long-term spot on this team in any type of substantial way. And that's no knock on them. The Phillies are an insanely talented baseball team. But yeah, the outfield's figured out. It's the platoon in center. It's Hayes in left. It's Castellanos in right.
And
what it's going to be.
And that, I mean, look, it could be, unless Weston Wilson goes on like a Barry Bonds tear. And
yeah, and I don't see that. I don't see that happen.
That's not going to happen. But I just find it interesting because,
well, I mean, it's like Johan Rojas in his last I'm going to try to do some quick math here. In his last 12 games, has 3 games. In his last 13 games, has 3 games where he doesn't have a hit.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, 13 games, doesn't have a hit in just 3 of them.
Yeah.
That is something that Brandon Marsh can't give you.
Right.
He can't.
Right now.
Well, no, he has given you in the past. He can't. They don't. They right now. Enough of like.
No,
he's had enough.
John,
Marsh. Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Marsh has had enough. Marsh has had enough of a sample size that we don't have to say, well, let's give him like 20 more games.
Do you remember
we've had enough of a sample size.
Do you remember when you told us Trey Turner is the hitter he is because of the season he had last year? Sometimes guys go through bad stretches, and sometimes they're extended bad stretches. But if you've seen a guy do it at the major league level, the extent that Brandon Marsh has, he's not Trey Turner, he's not Bryce Harper, but we've seen enough to know that Brandon Marsh is capable of being a major league hitter.
And I can also say the opposite to what you just said about Rojas. Like,
okay,
all right, so he's had 9 good games out of the last 12 with the bat. Does that mean he's now this consistent hitter?
What it tells me is if a guy like him is getting 10 out of 13 games where he's getting a hit, a minimum that he gets to play, that tells me he is a more consistent option.
Right now.
Right. Like he could
all
go.
I can go off of is now.
No, you can't.
And against Brandon Marsh has had 330 at bats?
Okay, then you're going off of more than right now for Brandon Marsh and not more than right now for Johan Rojas. That's totally not fair.
Because right now is part of the reason that you didn't get more of Rojas is because of Marsh. And you kept going, we keep going to this well. It's got to work out. It's got to fix itself. It's got to be. It wasn't fixing itself. And the guy who is the far better defensive option, far better, he is a weapon, deserves that same sort of grace and that same sort of opportunity.
He should get more opportunities than Brandon Marsh, but Brandon Marsh is not going to get thrown by the wayside.
Now let me ask you this question.
Yes.
And think about it during the break. Does it concern you that we're even having this conversation?
Yes. In a big way, it does.
All right, let's dive deeper into that coming up next. We'll get to some text message reactions. And any word on our special guest?
I am going to try to make sure that he is waking up. It's a he.
All right, and he's big.
He's big. Yeah,
he's big. That big male special guest could be joining us at 9 o'clock.
He'll be in town in the relative area tomorrow.
Oh, so that's another clue. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now, a Birds in update on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Salciunas 97.5, The Fanatic, on this beautiful Fanatic Friday.
It's supposed to be a nice day.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm heading down the shore immediately after the show. I don't think Connor will be done his update yet.
And you will be already on your way?
I'm going to make a point. I'm going to say goodbye to you guys on the air.
During the segment.
I
like that.
You will not be done your update, and I will be out of the building.
You underestimate how quick I could do an update.
No, I'm going to be out.
Mike Missanelli show coming up next.
When does Friday get screwed up? Like 1:30?
What do you mean?
When people are migrating down to the beaches?
Yeah, so I'm
like around 1:30 Friday. You're screwed up. No,
I'm down before, man.
No, but I understand. But if you wait, what's the time where you're screwed?
Yeah,
if you wait.
I think post noon.
Anything post noon.
I'm usually on the road by like 11:30 when I make a point, and there's already starting to be some traffic getting onto the expressway. But once I'm on the expressway, once you pass Berlin, you fly down.
Do you? I got a combo for you.
Yeah.
No.
What is this?
Do you like pretzels?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Do you like grapes?
Yes.
No.
Grapes are my
yes, but not with pretzels.
Grapes may be my favorite,
like fruit item.
Late night if I'm in a certain headspace.
Okay.
Snack.
You like grapes?
See, that's just terrible.
Dude.
Let's not get distracted.
Have a pretzel. Eat a pretzel. And then while you're still chewing it and everything, pop in a grape.
Okay.
And it is a social media phenomenon that it will taste like fried chicken.
What?
We go, green or red. This is important.
No. Grape and pretzel. They do not. You take a grape, you eat a pretzel.
They don't specify green or red?
Nope. You're chewing a pretzel, you pop in a grape, you have the both tastes in your mouth, and it will taste like you're eating fried chicken.
Soft pretzel or like a...
No, pretzel, like hard pretzel.
Hard pretzel and any grape.
Hard pretzel.
I have both of those at my house.
Okay.
How does it make fried chicken?
And it will taste like fried chicken. And Liv sent me a thing. I saw 20 people trying it. And they all said, oh my gosh, it does taste like fried chicken.
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think it does. And I think those people just do it for the reaction.
Okay. You got it. You got
taking a guess.
Okay. Then you do them both later if you have them around down at the shore. I don't think you might not have them at the shore.
I'm having it at my house.
Okay.
I got grapes and pretzels at the house.
Okay, then I want you to try it. Just chew it on up and you tell me.
I literally bought a bag of pretzels 2 days ago.
Okay, well, there's that then.
All right, I'll let you guys
The
know.
only thing in my fridge is the 30 of Miller High Life that Johnny gave me.
Damn right. All right, so I asked before the break, does it concern you that we still don't necessarily know center field, left field? Now, Connor believes you believe what center field, left field is. But does it concern you that we're having this conversation? Because you know how there's the point of, wow, this is a good problem to have. We have so many options. Or is it like the Eagles linebackers where it's nobody's really all that great, so there's a competition?
I think it's kind of in between.
Because I don't feel supremely confident with left field and center field.
I do not either.
No, but we were never going to, right? We always knew the outfield was going to be the weak spot of this team. And unless Dombrowski went out and got like Luis Robert or Jazz Chisholm or something in the outfield and did that at the trade deadline, we were always going to kind of feel the same the rest of the year, right?
Right.
Like we know what Marsh and Rojas are. We're having the argument about who's better, but we know there's better options than those guys out there. And we know their deficiencies even when they're at their best.
We know they're both not.
They're not all-star players
They're not
right
Sharpie guys
exactly.
that you pencil in.
So, I don't know. It doesn't really concern me. The other thing, too, that's not concerning is I don't think there's as much of a decision. Like, you're not going to play anybody else out there besides those guys.
Right, like Weston Wilson, just because he had a good game yesterday. He's not all of a sudden putting him in the rotation.
So your position is more, Connor, more by default.
Exactly.
Okay. I can sort of agree with that we know that they got to deal with the cards that they dealt themselves. I like the Hayes move, though.
It was a nice move.
I liked the Hayes move when he did it. And I haven't seen enough to judge whether I think it's a good move or a bad move. I certainly hope he gets back here soon, though.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Which would be nice. We are efforting our special guest to join us. I have not heard from the answering service yet, but
all right,
hang tough.
So here's the deal: 9 a.m. on the dot. Kincade and Salciunas.
I don't know about that.
No, will either be
yes,
big special male guest who will be in the area, or it will be the continuation of today's show. We reset everything that we've been talking about today, and we hit up the text line because I know I've gone away from it for a little bit. So that's always a possibility as well. All right, don't worry. We always have things planned no matter what. It is Kincade Salciunas. But hopefully this special guest can join us because I want to tell him that he made 7-year-old Andrew cry. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A cycle for Weston Wilson. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by your local PJ Welling.
901 on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic on this Fanatic Friday. In about 59 minutes, no, 54 minutes, I'll be on the 76. I'm out of here. It's vacation time for yours truly. You're going to have to work.
That is fun for you.
Yeah, you're going to have to work Monday and Tuesday. Enjoy yourself. We've been talking a lot about the Eagles after their preseason game yesterday. And, of course, we've talked about the Phillies today as the Phillies have now won 2 straight. It is part 7 of Are They Back? I'm not ready to go there just yet. But you know what we are going to do? We're going to head to the Comcast Business Hotline, Johnny.
Yeah, every day in business is a big day, and Comcast Business gets you ready for what's next. You know, before you, I've had partners in my day that are very, very effective partners and really, really prominent ones. I would say, Andrew, you're right there with DJ Diesel himself, the great Shaquille O'Neal, who will be live at Harris tomorrow at 12 noon. Shaq, what's up, brother?
Is this John and Alan?
This is Andrew.
No,
Are you kidding
Allen
me?
Iverson, yes. Allen Iverson, his new partner.
By the way, you made Andrew, my partner who you have not met, you made Andrew cry when he was 7 years old.
Yeah, thanks a lot, dude.
Why?
Well, I was 7, and the 76ers were in the NBA Finals. So I either have to thank you or ask for your apology because you made me cry, but you also taught me a life lesson because it was my first time ever experiencing happiness, but also my first time experiencing the downfall and hatred of sports. So thanks a lot, Shaq.
No, I didn't make you cry. The kid made you cry.
He certainly did. He certainly did. How are you, my brother? You're coming to town tomorrow.
Yes, I am. How are you, brother?
I'm doing. I'm stronger every day, getting healthier and stronger every day, and feeling good about it. And we're all excited because Paul George is coming to town. So we're excited you're coming to town tomorrow, but Paul George is coming to town, and now we're thinking things might be different next year for us.
That's going to make your team very effective.
How effective?
If. Listen, I love playoff P, but playoff P hasn't been playoff P since the Miami series. In my opinion, there's no disrespect to Paul, but you know when you can do the things that you can do, you're expected to 26, 27, average that in the playoffs, and every now and then he'll have a good game, and then the next game he won't have a good game. So. You know, him and Mr. Embiid and Mr. Maxey, you got to throw him in the mix. They have to be super effective in order to get the championship. And I know they're gunning for Boston because Boston has the easiest run to a championship ever. So I'm looking forward to it. And I actually hope LFP, Embiid, and Maxey does well.
To your point about Paul George, we always say how this is the best team that Embiid's ever had around him. This has been, I feel like we've been doing this for 4 or 5 seasons now. Is this the best team that Paul George has been a part of? I know he played with Kawhi Leonard and James Harden. That's nothing to sneeze at, but he's got a big man like Joel Embiid, and he's got the guard like Tyrese Maxey. In terms of his play style, is this the best fit that Paul George has had?
I mean, I would have to agree with you, yes. Playing with the best big man, well, one of the best big men in the league. And, you know, the window is closing for him. Maxey has emerged. The unfortunate thing is somebody's going to have to sacrifice just a little. And Maxey probably going to have to go back to being the Maxey that he was. But he still should have that aggressive spirit and still play the same way and not wait for anybody. So, you know, either it's going to be the old school 1-2 punch or it's going to be the new school big 3. We shall see.
Watching the Olympic team, and not only watching Joel Embiid, but watching the Olympic team as a whole, what did you think as a gold medalist yourself?
Thank you, Steph Curry.
It's the truth.
Thank you, Steph Curry. I appreciate you, Steph Curry. You know, John, I don't like going by ifs, but what if you don't hit 4 threes in a row?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you lose. I mean, the fact that they were trailing Serbia, to me, pissed me off. And people were like, "Oh my gosh, it didn't matter. They won the game." I'm like, "It's an embarrassment that they were trailing like that."
Yeah, we should. You know, I said the other day, if we don't win by 20 or 30, I wouldn't be impressed. Yeah, we won the gold medal, but you just gave all these countries confidence. And guess what? It's our last gold medal. Would you like me to explain?
Yes.
Next no LeBron. Next Olympics, no Steph. Next Olympics, no KD. Next Olympics, no Joel Embiid. No more gold for the U.S.
Well, Joel might pick another country to play for.
That's my point.
Exactly.
Exactly. Shaq, Carmelo Anthony always talks about how the gold medal is, he would never trade that away for an NBA championship. Now, easy for him to say because he never won an NBA championship. I'm curious, because you've done both, what was winning the gold medal like for you?
Well, I won one in '94 where I was an integral part of the team. In '96, I was an integral part of the team, and then the final game, Lenny Wilkins comes to me and said, "This is probably David Robinson's last one, so he's going to get to start and play most of the game." I only played 15 seconds. I drove home after the ceremony because it was in Atlanta, and I threw my gold medal out the window.
Wow.
True story. True story.
Did you go back and get it, though? Tell the end of that story.
I did not. Because remember, the game was at night, and so I left for probably about 11. By the time I hit Valdosta, it was probably like 2. I just took it off and threw it away.
And you usually get pulled over in Valdosta, Georgia, if I remember well.
Because, John, you know me, if I didn't earn it, I don't want it. I felt like I didn't earn it. I felt like Lenny Wilkins didn't do me a solid, so I threw it away.
There's some guy walking around this side of the road that picked up a gold medal and has no idea that it was Shaquille O'Neal.
Off 75 South.
Right.
No, it's probably still there. It's just a matter of trying to find it. When you're a competitor like that, and you look at, you never want to be the old head, and you never ever want to do that. You always try to respect players of every single generation. But when you watch the NBA today, are you proud of the product that they're putting out there?
I'm proud of the money that they're making.
I know that as the businessman.
Yeah, I was looking at salaries the other day. Wow, I'm jealous. I'm jealous and I'm flabbergasted. Am I proud of the product? The only thing that disappoints me, John, is why does every team play the same way? That right there irritates me. I remember we had to play Utah. They had a whole different offense. Chicago had the triangle, and then you got to deal with the team, and then the Knicks played a certain way, and 76ers played. Now every team plays the same way. That frustrates me, and I think it weakens the product.
Yeah, I remember the Sixers, when they had Al Horford, it was Ben Simmons, Al Horford, and Joel Embiid, and they still tried playing a Euro style of basketball where they were chucking up threes. By the way, Josh Richardson was their 2 guard, and Tobias Harris, another non-3-point. They had 4 or 5 guys that did not shoot threes, and they still tried playing the Euro style of basketball.
Yeah, it's just, I don't. And then I ask coaches, why do you all play the same way? Oh, times have changed. Well, change them back, damn it.
Hey, your Dallas Cowboys, by the way, they look like a dumpster fire. Just want to give you. I just want to. I want to free up some of your Sundays in the fall, so you don't have to waste time watching them.
Yeah. In 2024, dumpster fire is slang for a Super Bowl team. Thank you, John.
Well, you might need to. Seriously, how do you have your 3 highest paid players, and you being one of those caliber players, how do you have your 3 highest paid players not locked up after this year, and all of your coaching staff not locked up after this year? Come on, you got Jerry Jones' cell phone number. I know you do. You should talk some sense into the man.
First of all, we will get it done when it needs to be done, and we're going to beat your Eagles.
You think so, eh?
You beat y'all last year?
You haven't won. You won last year. Look, you have not won many bets, Eagles, Cowboys, with me.
Didn't we beat you last year?
Yeah, okay.
It was a split.
It was a split.
Okay, well, it's a split.
It's all right, and you won the division, and you did what Dallas does in the playoffs.
Yeah, true. I cannot argue that fact.
You know, when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, talk about what kind of a good man Shaquille O'Neal is. He had a bet with me that he would dress as an eagle, cover his body in feathers, and then stroll around the Battery in downtown in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And do that. And he dressed covered in feathers and went around and was an eagle. I mean, you paid off. You're a man. Yeah. I don't think eagles make that sound, but it was good. It was one of my favorite memories of being together with you.
And I had so many pillow feathers in my face. I was like, what am I doing?
What what is your future like? Other than DJ Diesel, who, by the way, tomorrow at Harrah's. By the way, I see today there's only like 20 tickets available. So, I mean, it's going to be a big show.
And
tomorrow.
are 2-year-olds allowed? Because I'm right across the bridge in Brigantine. I can bring my 2-year-old.
No, you cannot. I'm sorry.
you can't bring Cooper. Now, when you hear Salciunas, my partner Andrew's name, you have much love for Lithuanian basketball players?
I do. Every guy that comes from Europe, I appreciate their game because they bring fundamentals to the game. And as you saw in the Olympics, fundamentals is about to overtake talent. You know, for so long, talent, you jump higher, you run faster, you win. But if you look at the top 10 players in the league now, half of them are from overseas. So I love Lithuanian players, I love Croatian players. I've always said if you got a Vitch in your last name, you can shoot that Vitch.
That's awesome. Sabonis, Valanciunas, Ilgauskas. Who's the one that you hated the most playing up against? This is personal for me.
This is good.
Ilgauskas.
Explain.
7'4", long, all the moves, up and under, and could shoot the jumper. And if you try to challenge the jumper, he could put it on the floor and go to the basket.
This is the happy statement.
By the time I started playing Sabonis, he was old, so, it really didn't count. Because I saw what he did to David Robinson in the 1984 Olympics. I really didn't like him for that. And then one time I went to, I actually had an appearance for Reebok in Lithuania, and there was an article that came out, and Sabonis said that he would dog me out. So I said, okay, we'll see. And he came to Portland, so I've always had that self-hatred for him.
You've been a partial owner of an NBA team. If an NBA team came to Vegas, you want in, right?
Yes, I would love to be in.
Because would you want a day-to-day role, or would you rather just be an owner?
I'd just rather be an owner, rather just show up at the game and sit in my suite with you,
That's great.
lovely wife, your lovely daughter, my kids, and just have a great time.
It's my daughter be on. She's that baby's 21 at Christmas.
What?
Yes, it's amazing. She's 21
Hold
soon.
on. What?
She's 21 soon, and she's going to graduate in May.
I used to take her peanut butter jelly out of her lunchbox. That's 21.
Yes, that means she's going to want to come to Shaq's DJ parties when next year, when Uncle Shaq comes through town. She'll be coming down.
And are you going on vacation?
Yeah, I'm going. I'm going down. We go down the beach next weekend.
Oh,
We're
nice.
going down next weekend. And besides, you don't want me at one of your DJ shows. So, will you be playing the WBCs tomorrow? For those
I will.
You were. Will you tell everybody what the WBCs are?
WBCs are white boy classics. And Andrew, I do not want to see you at the beach with all that damn back hair.
Yeah, I got you. I'll shave it if I do come by, though. All right?
No back hair, Andrew.
Now, I thought Haley was going to come, who runs our YouTube feed. She loves to do these speed shows, and she's always down there. And then today she tells me they haven't even bought tickets. I'm like, are you kidding me? Seriously.
Come on, Haley.
I mean, seriously. What is she doing with her money?
Where's she at? Are you there, Haley?
Haley's got to come quicker and get on mic here, Haley, because, seriously, how can you not have tickets to this event if you want to? When DJ Diesel comes into Atlantic City,
yeah, you got to be ready.
And by the way, you'll be back at. Are you back at Encore later on this summer? Do you have your headsets on, Haley? You're back at Encore this summer, right? In Vegas.
Yes, I'm going. Yes.
Haley. That's always 11. All right, Haley, he's talking to you. If you want, you can use my headsets for a second.
All right, she's transferring on over here, Shaq. All right, go ahead.
Hi, Shaq.
Hello, hi, Haley. How are you?
Good. How are you?
And who are you coming with?
I am coming with my friend Rotana.
Okay, well, I will have a guy.
Sounds right up your alley, Shaquille.
Yes, I will have a guy named Logan call John and get your information. You don't need to buy tickets. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it, Shaq.
There you go.
How about that? A personal invite from Shaq.
DJ
Now, Shaq, listen, I was at John's ceremony when he was inducted into the Temple Hall of Fame. It was a beautiful ceremony, and you left a beautiful message for him, and that's great. But I got to ask you, man, I've done 110 shows now with John. Is there anything I need to know about John, not necessarily the great things about John that I need to keep an eye on?
Well, the best thing about John is he's honest. Before me and him became partners, he met me at my hookah spot, and he had a briefcase, and he said, I don't care who you are. If you're not going to take it serious, we're not going to do it. And I was like, well, hello to you too, sir. And we had a great podcast.
We had six good years together.
Yes. He's honest, he's funny, and he's not sensitive. So in this business, if you become sensitive, then you got a whole other bunch of problems. That's what I love and respect about John. And he has a great sense of humor.
The girls say hello and send their love, and look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you, Shaquille.
And John, teach him about borderline.
You want to know what borderline is?
Yes, please.
Every week we would find stuff that was... Shaq, do you believe we would be canceled in today's culture?
No, because me and you are on the platform. You can't cancel owners.
That's good.
That's true.
That's it. And when you have Shaq really own the platform, I was sort of a tenant.
By the way, I just realized something. Back-to-back days. Chuck was on yesterday.
Charles was on yesterday.
He was on yesterday with Mike Missanelli. We got you on today.
Who?
Charles was on yesterday.
Oh, Chuck, Allen Iverson. What's up, Allen Iverson?
No.
Bubba Chuck.
Shaquille, have a great day. Love you, brother.
All right, love you too, brother.
You're the man. Thank you. There he is, Shaquille O'Neal. Wow, on the Comcast Business Hotline. Breaking down Lithuanian basketball players.
Yes.
Breaking down John Kincade.
By the way, he loves Euro basketball. He loves the IBF. He loves watching a different style of the same game.
Oh, well, then you should listen to him more.
Because I don't
You're
enjoy...
Mr. Anti-basketball other than the NBA.
But the thing is, though, is that what you wouldn't guess is that Shaquille is a student of the game much more to a degree than probably anybody would think. Everybody thinks brute force.
Right.
He loves talking the X's and O's of the game and what's going on with it.
I'm sorry. We're burying the lead. If you're going to say what you wouldn't guess from that interview, we're not going to say what you wouldn't guess would be John Kincade in a hookah lounge?
You did not know. Yeah,
well, I've heard this story.
Okay, it's true.
I don't know
it's
that
a
the
true
listeners
story.
have heard this story.
Okay, Shaquille was looking to launch a podcast, and this is before everybody and their sister had a podcast.
Right.
And he interviewed 6 people, found nobody that he wanted to work with because of the fact that when he was doing his interviews, he said, I am not going to tell you. You're going to tell me what the podcast we're going to do together is. That was the only disclaimer. What is the podcast? How's it going to be? He interviewed 6 people, found nobody. Ernie Johnson Jr., God bless EJ. EJ said, have you talked to Kincade? And he goes, I've heard his name, but I don't know him. And he goes, well, why don't you reach out to him and see? I think you should try. So, and I got the parameters from his agent that this is what you had to do. You had to come and pitch to Shaq what kind of show you do. Well, Shaq has a hookah lounge in Atlanta. So I show up at the hookah lounge.
What was the attire?
Me?
Were you in a suit? Tell me you were in a suit.
I was in a easily $400 suit. And I had my briefcase.
Did you fit in?
No. Not at all.
Incredible.
Hey, guess what? But by the time the podcast was over, I freaking owned that place anytime I showed up.
Right.
But I knew how to dress and otherwise. But honestly, he sat there and he goes, well, let's talk business first. And then he was taking me to dinner down the street. Mm-hmm. And my wife said to me, Christina said that the night I was getting together, and she goes, so you're going to dinner with Shaquille O'Neal. She goes, you guys could do a podcast together? And I said, hell no. I honestly said, he's never going to pick me to work with. And she goes, well, then why are you going? I said, because my grandchildren are going to hear the story about when Shaquille O'Neal wanted to have dinner with Grandpa.
Right.
And I went, and first 5 minutes, he said, what kind of podcast we're going to do? I said, if we were doing a podcast together, it would be funny. It wouldn't be about basketball. It'd be about everything else.
Right.
He said, you're hired.
On the spot.
And the rest was history.
That's
6 full
awesome,
years
man.
of fun. And I do believe we'd have many cancellation attempts.
Stuff
that we did. But he was big enough to deflect.
I'll say this. There's been a lot worse that's been done that has not led to cancellations. But that's really cool. Thanks for setting that up, man.
It was fun.
Good to have Shaquille O'Neal
see him
on
at Harris
the show.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
There you go.
I won't bring Coop or my back hair. All right, coming up next, we continue the discussion for today's show. We'll get some text messages and a whole lot more. It is a Fanatic Friday on Kincade and Salciunas right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phil's offense explodes. I'm Connor Thomas.
Salciunas is presented to you by the...
On Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Again, thanks to Shaquille O'Neal for coming on the show today. Great job, Johnny, with that one.
See him down at Harris tomorrow. We are not, we would normally catch up with Uncle Shaq, but he's doing a noon show.
Oh, interesting.
Tomorrow. It's the afternoon. And then he's doing a night show in New York.
Oh, jeez.
So he'll literally get in the limo and go to and do a show in New York later on.
Yeah.
So that means Shaq will do a noon show. That means he will be up at like 11. I said,
Right.
well, let's do an early breakfast. He's like,
Yeah, early breakfast.
yeah, forget. See you next time.
This was early for him, right? 9
yeah.
a.m.
It was early. And you were laughing because I have to call the wake up service.
Dude,
So
we were talking about Shaq's life off the air, and it's just money that I can't comprehend. Like, go ahead, tell him he has an answering service.
He has an answering service. He's got a service that I have the wake up number. I know his sleeping answering service, and then he has his daily answering service, like the secretary that sort of runs his life. So I can get in touch with either one of them. The wake up answering service to make sure he gets up and gets out of bed when he has an obligation. It's amazing because he has sleep apnea.
Now, well, hold on a second.
So he has, but because of Reggie White, all because of Reggie White.
Yeah.
And he got tested for sleep apnea and has it. So he made sure that he got himself in much better shape, and then sleeps with an apparatus that is noisy, I guess.
Yeah, the sleep app machine.
Okay,
yeah.
I don't know of them.
But I gotta ask, how do they wake him up?
Oh, they have a way to wake him up. I think there's a
is there somebody?
Okay, how about this?
That sits next? Does he have a security guard while he sleeps and they wake him up?
I know this. There's a house, a dojo that manages the house property that can come and knock on the door. That I could also get in touch with if worse came to worse.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to knock on the door.
But the reason he has the answering service is the first time we had Shaq on, I saw his number and I kept calling him and just playing this.
What's up, brother?
Gave him the Charles every time. So they had to put precautions in place.
By the way, people do not realize Charles's mom and Shaquille's mom became best of friends.
Yeah.
They literally can't be in a room together without competing at anything. And he thinks the world of Charles Barkley.
Right, of course. Was he misunderstanding the Chuck Charles
Yes,
part? Okay.
he was. Yes, he was
I didn't know if he was just trying to purposely not give him any love.
No, no. He thinks that Charles is he thinks Charles would make a great ambassador. Like an ambassador for the United States.
I could see it.
Like with a foreign country that he could work something out.
Yeah, unless he's trying to talk up San Antonio.
And, like when they were opening up Cuba, President Obama literally called Shaq on his cell phone.
Oh, really?
To get him to be one of the big celebrities to go over to Cuba.
No, I thought we had Rodman for that.
And that's for
that's North Korea.
Then Little Rocket Man. That's for Little Rocket Man.
Which, by the way, I saw a report early this morning. He might open up North Korea for tourists.
That's I have no
Would
interest.
you go?
No.
Would you go, Connor?
Yeah, probably.
I would probably
You
go.
would?
Yeah, check it out.
I
Yeah.
would not. I have no.
Just
I'm
to
not
check
doing
it out.
that. I'm not doing that. I personally won't. I got invited on the trip to Cuba, and I didn't go. But there's options.
You could have unearthed a prospect for the Phillies, man.
No.
That's Mike Missanelli's dream.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. All right, and Mike Missanelli, of course, coming your way at 10 o'clock with Bill Colarulo and Ray Dunn. All right, Connor, we've been off the text line for a little bit because we had Shaq on, but we've had a lot of stuff that we've been talking about today. Eagles preseason week number 2 was last night. We were reacting to that. Of course, the starters offensively were not playing. Will Brinson of CBS has the Eagles going 9-8 this year. And I want to read the blurb one more time. My projection is going against the Vegas implied success of the Eagles, and it's in large part because of what I expect to be a slowish start for Philly. I still see it as a likely playoff team, but it draws the Packers and 3/4 of the NFC South to start before a Week 5 bye. Can I just say this real quick?
Okay.
Ooh, 3/4 of the NFC South. Oh. It's the NFC South. Like, what am I? Look, the Falcons got better.
No, the Falcons
overnight.
are. The Falcons are. That is a much more dangerous Week 2 game than it was.
And I know Tampa beat you in the playoffs, but the Eagles were dead, right?
They were.
The Eagles were.
And you boat raced them during the regular season.
Yeah, like I look at that game more as the Eagles were dead than, wow, the Buccaneers played really well in that game. And then the Saints, like, come on, man, with the Saints. Anyways.
I think Saints are going to be in the running for the top pick.
Yeah, they might be.
Like, that could be that bad a year.
He continues saying they have a new offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore, and even if he's an upgrade, there's some concerns after seeing the Chargers last year, plus the natural acclimation time, the loss of Jason Kelce and Fletcher Cox, the literal backbone of both the offense and defense, respectively, is kind of being glossed over this offseason. It's not here. We have not glossed over it. And then he continues saying Howie Roseman did an outstanding job replacing the two ahead of time by drafting Cam Jurgens and Jordan Davis, but there's a chance this team starts a little slow as they adjust to all the changes. Now, Jordan Davis, as we have talked about, there is not a slow start to Jordan Davis. It's the slow second half, but the slow start is not something to be concerned about. Cam Jurgens, we'll see. We won't find out until he actually plays. I just feel like because he got that playing time last year at right guard and now he's going back to his natural position, I don't think it's going to be a huge step back or a huge step down from Jason Kelce. Do I believe he's an all-pro and a future Hall of Famer? No, I don't believe that, and so you would probably think that's crazy for me to say, but I don't think come week 3, week 4, we're going to be like, damn, they're really missing Jason Kelce. That's just my feel on the situation.
I don't believe that it's going to be. I've said it before. With all due respect, and you know I love Jason Kelce.
I know you do.
But I don't think that we're going to be like, I don't think it's going to be a huge storyline going, man, the Kelce loss, the loss of Jason Kelce is just crushing this team.
That's why they're 2-2
I
because
don't
of Jason
believe
Kelce.
that. I don't believe that will ever be a storyline in his entire retirement.
And let's not act like A, Jason Kelce didn't handpick Cam Jurgens. B, he's not a second-round draft pick. Like, it's not like they drafted him in the 7th round and he's just here and they need to play him because Jason Kelce's gone, right? Like, it's not like last year Nakobe Dean and Reed Blankenship got starting jobs because there was really nobody else. Cam Jurgens, they handpicked Jason Kelce.
Kelce handpicked him.
Jeff Stoutland has worked with him. Like, I don't have this big – in the list of concerns, it's very low on the list.
It's not even on my radar.
Right.
At all. And when you heard Jason Kelce over the past few years talk about his football IQ, taking him under wing and helping him adjust to the NFL, the guy moves to another position that he plays more than adequately.
Yeah.
And then now's going to his natural position. I don't believe it's a storyline. Centers are rarely a storyline in the NFL.
Right.
Rarely.
All right, what do we got on the text line there, Connor?
All right, Steve from Conchi checks in, and he says this in quotations. The Eagles are going to win the NFC East. They have no competition. They are the best team in the NFC, and we have no worries, end quote. The morning show earnestly every single season.
Hello, this is show 110 of the morning show, Kincade Salciunas. Did we work together during the Eagles season last year?
We did not.
So he's right every single Eagles season because this has been the only one that we have done together.
And we have never even had a season yet.
Yeah.
I would tell you, we've never had a season together.
Now, let's play the game of do we normally overvalue the Eagles early on and look at this team with the green-colored glasses?
I did not last year.
You did not, and I think I did.
Last year, I was terrified of the middle of the field on defense. Terrified. Because I did not believe in the Kobe Dean. I did not believe in Reed Blankenship. I did not believe in the competition for the second starting safety spot. I did not believe in Jordan Davis. And look, what you've pointed out is accurate, how great he is in the first half of the season. It's something that I'm concerned about in the second half of the season. And this year, I've been honest with you guys, I am concerned about the pass rush.
And you can be. To me, last year, I had two concerns. That I thought re-signing 2 30-plus old corners was the dumbest thing that Howie Roseman had ever potentially done. I think I was proven right. You don't do that. It's against best practices in the NFL. I think that's dumb. And I was concerned of 2 coordinators being tossed the keys that were inexperienced for a Super Bowl team, and that proved to be a problem. I thought one of them was going to make me look stupid, and I thought it was going to be the coordinators, by the way. I thought I'd be right on the cornerbacks. I thought the coordinators maybe had a chance to be like, that was stupid. They're still humming along. Little did I know that would sink the season.
Right. especially both of them. I mean, both of them were to blame.
Sure.
I mean, Sean Desai literally got fired. Midway through the season. So, to your point, Connor, no, I don't think so. Now, did I think the offense would be a super engine last year? I did, and it wasn't. I do believe that goes back to Nick Sirianni and Brian Johnson, and with Kellen Moore, I don't think that's a problem. All right, what else do we have on the text line?
All right, we'll get something on the Phillies as well to give them a little bit of love. And Joe the Cynic says, I don't care what caliber team the Phillies play. I'll say they're back when they consistently manufacture runs without hitting a long ball. Good old-fashioned baseball hitting behind runners.
All right, and you saw that last night. I can't necessarily say that you saw that 2 nights ago because Kyle Schwarber's grand slam saved the season. I know they tacked on more runs later on in the game. But, yeah, I hear Joe's point. Like, once they continue to consistently score runs and it not just be relying on the home run ball, then you could say that they're back. I just need to see them do it against the next stretch of teams. Like, I'm not going to get...
It's the next 2 weeks after the Nationals.
Right.
Then we'll all put it in... We'll all be on the record. Look, right after Labor Day, we will be on the record. We've seen enough. You've seen enough against the best teams. See what they can do.
Right. Absolutely. All right. You know what? Give us a question out of the hat, Connor, because it is a Fanatic Friday. Still to come, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3, and we'll probably get another question out of the hat and some more text messages. But we haven't gotten to the hat in a while, so what do we got?
Oh, I love this one. The greatest Philadelphia sports concession item is blank.
The greatest Philadelphia sports concession item.
Wow.
So,
That's a great question.
Used to be, and I was devastated when it left.
What was that?
The Schmitter was heaven in between two buns.
You would be such a Schmitter.
Dude, because I like slop. I like
like the messy.
I like junk.
Right.
I like pile up 6 different things that all go well together. So the Schmitter was, but then there was a fallout between them and Aramark and blah, blah.
How about the go a little more traditional? The other night, Liv had one, and then I had a few bites of it. The helmet hat of ice cream.
Oh,
the
great
soft
pick.
serve.
Oh,
Richmond's.
Richmond's ice cream,
and
man.
It was awesome.
I might have some. They're in Brigantine. I might have a little Richmond's this
Richmond's
weekend.
ice cream, the helmet hat the other night, 3 stars. 3 out of 3. It was fantastic.
Connor?
I would love to go the fastball freeze, but I haven't been able to track one down.
Okay.
So I'm going to go just another classic. Chickies and Pete's crab fries.
Oh, well, that's always
good.
Yeah.
Honestly, you get one of those.
That's always good. I'm just going to have like 5 bottles of water.
Yeah, that's true. I'll wash it down with a beer or two.
I am going to say this. Something that I'll talk about it coming up next.
Okay. Are you going to say something controversial right before you go on vacation?
No. It's not controversial.
Okay.
If you've been to a ball game this year, you might agree with me. Dollar Dog Night going away was not the worst thing that happened to the hot dogs at Citizens Bank Park.
Dare you?
Uh-oh, here we go.
No, I hated that it was
Is it those
gone.
lousy
We'll
wet
talk.
buns?
We'll
We'll
talk.
talk.
Oh, it might be worse.
Oh, no.
Kincade Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson.
It doesn't seem to matter who the Phillies play. The problem isn't the opponent anymore. The problem is the Phillies.
Has plenty to say about sports in Philly.
And the concerning part is that Rob Thompson, Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, Schwarber, they don't seem to have any answers.
Hear Tyrone with Ricky Vitalico on the best show ever. Weekday afternoons 2 to
Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic on this Fanatic Friday. Don't forget, goodbye, guys. I'm out Monday, Tuesday.
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
I'm out at 9:54. You will not be done your update. I will be out of One Ballot Plaza. I am promising you that. I will be on 76 by 10 o'clock this morning.
It's about damn time.
Oh, wow. Okay, you've been looking forward to this, I see. All right. I got to tell you about this hot dog thing, but first, it's time now for the Kincade Salciunas Key 3.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
Let's start with the Eagles. Congratulations, they're 2-0. They are winning the preseason right now. It's like the Sixers in the Summer League. The Sixers in the Summer League are just lethal. They are always so good. The Eagles this year, undefeated in the preseason. The big story, of course, the starters offensively did not play. Most of the starters defensively did play, or sorry, I should say the people competing for starting jobs defensively.
Right,
because Zach Vaughn, even though he's talked about as if he is a starter, still hasn't necessarily won the job just yet. He did look good yesterday. Nakobe Dean, that was the guy that Connor, during our pregame show yesterday, said that he wanted to watch him. He looked good yesterday. There were some guys that stood up defensively yesterday. Avonte Maddox, who might be on his way out. He did have a nice play in the red zone, though.
Yeah, apologies to Avonte, and he goes and gets a big interception.
Yeah.
As big as an interception can be in a preseason game.
Let's give a little love to the Phillies, who had another beat down.
How about a lot of love?
9-5 the other night against the Marlins. Last night, 13-3 against the Nationals. 17 hits for your Philadelphia Phillies. Kyle Schwarber 1 for 5. Trey Turner 3 for 5. Bryce Harper 2 for 4. Alec Boehm 1 for 4. Nick Castellanos 2 for 5. JT Realmuto 1 for 4. Bryson Stott 1 for 4. I'll skip one player. Yohan Rojas 2 for 5. Every player in the starting lineup with at least a hit last night, including Weston Wilson, who goes 4 for 5 with a single, a double, a triple, and a home run. A cycle for Weston Wilson, which is an awesome story. He's 29 years old.
Story.
He has a reasoning, whether we agree with it or not.
He doesn't have a reasoning because he ignores it on the other side of the ball.
I was just about to say.
So he does not have reasoning.
Maybe it wasn't physical for the defensive players.
Oh my gosh! Like Nick, first of all, for God's sake, sum it up. Like get to it. And more importantly, why it took him that long to answer that question is because he doesn't have a strategy. It's because this though, and I think it's a good thing. It is obvious that the defensive coordinator wants people to play, and it's now been said, and it was said again on the broadcast last night. He petitioned Nick or told Nick what he needed to see and how he needed to see it. That tells me the defensive coordinator said, I need to see things. And the offensive coordinator said, I'm good. Sit him on the bench. And to me, credit Nick Sirianni for listening to one coordinator and listening to the other.
Okay.
And that's how I'm going to look at it. I'm going to look at it as a positive. There has not been anything that makes me go, wow, this is alarming. This is dreadful. This is going to be a problem.
There might be one for me.
There might be an individual. Is there something about the team?
There's one for me.
Okay,
it's been the constant. It's the pass rush. Great for Nolan Smith to get a sack yesterday with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. So who was playing?
Sure.
Like Connor was the left tackle, I'm pretty sure. Like
I could have blocked better.
You know, like it was great. I'm glad that he got a sack. It was against probably the third and fourth string players of the New England Patriots. Bryce Huff, I'm glad that Vic Fangio is making him play. It's still kind of alarming that Bryce Huff has to play, right? That was your big off-season acquisition. We are so terrified to play players on offense because they're high-priced players and they're very talented players. Your biggest acquisition is still playing in the preseason despite the weather and everything. Kind of alarming. And the pass rush still kind of concerns me, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
Shaq, what's up, brother?
Is this John and Alan?
This is Andrew.
No,
Are you kidding
Allen
me?
Iverson, yes. Allen Iverson, his new partner.
By the way, you made Andrew, my partner who you have not met, you made Andrew cry when he was 7 years old.
Yeah, thanks a lot, dude.
Why?
Well, I was 7, and the 76ers were in the NBA Finals.
No, I didn't make you cry. The Kimbe made you cry.
Dude, it's just an excuse to not play the starters, and if they don't feel like they need to play, all right, that's up to them. They're the coaches. They're the ones that are evaluating the film, evaluating the classroom when they're going through everything. They're the ones that make that decision. I'm just going to say one more time. Look, it's the last time I'll say it. You better not start off slow offensively in the first half of that Packers game.
Yes.
And then I don't want to hear if you do, oh, well, they didn't play in the preseason. And I don't want Eagles fans who are on board with that strategy to say it. And I don't want Nick Sirianni to say after the game, like he did last year, maybe I should reevaluate what I did in the preseason. All right, that's the Kincade and Salciunas Key 3. 3 best minutes from today's show? Real quick, the hot dog.
Dollar Dog
situation.
Night not going away is not the worst thing to happen.
Not the worst thing that happened this year at Citizens Bank Park. The worst thing when it comes to the hot dog. They got rid of the hot dogs staying on the roller.
I am anti this.
So they took the hot dogs still cook on the roller, but then when they're done, they're putting them in these plastic
One of those
containers.
bags. Yes.
And because it's plastic and they're putting it right in fresh off the roller, the heat keeps on cooking the hot dog.
And the roll sweats.
Dude, look, Dollar Dog Night it's a tragedy that they got rid of it. But I've gone to games when it's not Dollar Dog Night and I've still purchased a hot dog. That hot dog better be freaking good if I'm paying $5 for it.
Oh, God forbid Andy doesn't get his gourmet hot dog.
Dude,
It's not
no,
a gourmet,
it's not even gourmet. It's trash.
They used to be great.
They're fine. They're ballpark dogs.
No, but now they're bad. Now they're bad.
Now they're wet.
I have not ever since I got
You're
a
going to
hot.
tell me about bad hot dogs?
I got a hot dog.
I've eaten a bad hot dog.
I got a hot dog on opening day, a home opener this year. I've not gotten one since
There you go.
because of how bad it was.
Soft.
Hey,
I'm sorry that I don't want to waste $10.
Hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partner, Davis CPA Group. Hey, Ron. Make a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research. You can do it today at 975thefanatic.com/AACR. I'm living proof 3 times over that cancer research saves lives. And partner, I hope you have a wonderful, relaxing, fun weekend. Cooper runs your ass all over that
dude.
beach.
I'm not going to be relaxed. I'm going to be more tired. You see me already packed. I'm packed up already. I can't hear Connor. Connor can say whatever he wants.
This is your time in life to do what I did long ago, and you're going to enjoy every minute of it.
I'll be digging plenty of
I don't
holes,
think you're
trust
going to
me.
miss too much of it, though, when you don't have to do it.
Yeah. Sometimes I go, you know what? I do miss sleeping on the beach and doing whatever the hell I want.
It'll happen again soon.
Gonna miss you, Andy.
I hope it doesn't come
job.
too quickly. All right, everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy Connor and John and be gone on Monday and Tuesday. I'll be back on Wednesday. Everybody have a great weekend. The Mike Missanelli Show is coming your way next with Bill Colarulo and Ray Dunn. I'll be on 76 within the next 5 minutes.